Organization has called for an urgent rise in care for neurological conditions worldwide. It says such disorders killed 11 million people each year, but too little money is spent on them and poorer countries are ill-equipped. The BBC's Charles Haviland has the story.
The WHO report calls for urgent action to prioritise brain health. It says fully 40% of the global population are affected by neurological disorders at some point, including stroke, migraine, dementia, meningitis and epilepsy. But relatively few countries have a national policy on these diseases, and low-income nations have 80 times fewer neurologists than richer ones, so care and diagnosis are often out of reach. Especially in rural areas, the report adds, prejudice and other misconceptions can prevent people seeking treatment.
And recapping the breaking news this hour, former Kenyan Prime Minister Raila Odinga has died at the age of 80. For any news stories you would like to share with us, please do send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +27 11 714 4459. For Channel Africa News, I'm Jolani Tulo Wepe.
SABC News. The African Perspective.
Good morning everybody, and thank you so much once again for coming in, for being a part of this family and for engaging us with that African perspective. You're listening to Channel Africa, and the morning team just said goodbye. That is Peter Ndoro and Asanda Beta. Thank you so much to that team, keeping us updated with what's going on the continent and the world over. That's Africa Rise and Shine. But it's now 6 minutes past 9 Central Africa time, and it's time for On the Move. My name is Palesa, and I'm with Benjamin Moshatama. This Wednesday morning, we'll be keeping you informed, entertained, and of course giving you our views, and of course gladly accepting your views as well on the conversations of the day. So come in, join us. We're on www.channelafrica.co.za. We are on the audio bouquets, DSTV channel 802 and OpenView HD channel 628, and of course the SABC Plus app. Loads more ways although to engage with us, but I'll tell you a little bit about that later. First of all, let's speak about the conversations that we're having today. Well, the term coloured has been trending quite a bit if you're someone that is well acquainted with social media, with a South African superstar Tyler being really, I think, getting contentious about it with her American fans. She's been trolled pretty much from American fans saying, what is coloured? That is derogatory. Are you black? Are you not black? But the term coloured, refers to people of mixed heritage here in South Africa, a group that emerged during the colonial and apartheid times. And historically, they were classified as a separate racial group, distinct from both black Africans and white people. So it happens that according to recent reports, the coloured community in South Africa's Gauteng province report disproportionately high feelings of insecurity, of social alienation and economic strain compared to the general provincial averages. We'll find out why this is, and in fact unpack the findings of this report compiled by the Gauteng City Region Observatory in today's first hour of the show. I look forward to this conversation because it really does speak still about the history of the country, the painful history of the country, but also where we are in the present with all the racial groups that have been impacted by things like coloniality and the apartheid era. We move on into the second hour, of course, of today's show. We speak a lot about migration because it's been happening more and more often. More Africans, entrepreneurs, influencers, professionals, families are actually packing up and heading to countries like Dubai. And it's become almost like the new land of opportunity, luxury lifestyle, and global connections. But it's also been famous for zero income tax, which is one of the reasons that people are choosing it as, a good destination for them. But is moving to Dubai really a tax escape or just a tax delay? We're unpacking that in today's second hour. What do we need to understand about residency, double taxation, and the fine print of financial freedom abroad? And that's the conversation we'll be having in today's second hour of the show. How are you doing this morning, Beji?
I'm super good. And also we're going to have a very wonderful conversation in our Live Well feature in the third hour, looking at palliative care. It's often spoken of in the context of when you are of an older age, maybe after retirement. But there are many complex stories around palliative care amongst young people. We're going to be exploring a youth-centered conversation when it comes to palliative care. Usually we want you to be part of our show, and the best way is to be invited in our live stream. Remember, we are live on our YouTube page at Channel Africa 1 being the handle. Hey, also join us on YouTube as well, and you'll find us there as well as we stream simultaneously on those platforms. So depending on your preferences, if you want to be on YouTube, you can join us there, and you can also be with us on Facebook if that's where you want to be. We make sure that the options are open for you, our listener. Remember, we have this 3-hour journey, so be part of it. We've got that WhatsApp number available for you on +27 63406 9126. You can stay in touch with us. Let's get going. It's gonna be a good show.
Siyabangena manje. Vito Jablan Kolele Imagoda. Jablan is a young man from Guyana in Limpopo in South Africa. Very easy guy, taking things easy. To know me is to know that I love what I do, which I'm crazy about it. So when you hear me on radio, expect the best. Expect great music. Expect great content. Expect 180 minutes of nothing but fun. You'll find me on the morning reset, 3 to 6 a.m., Monday to Friday. Siyabangena baba. Ay. Mbuleke.
Benjamin Moshatama and Palesa on the move.
It's 11 minutes past 9 Central Africa time. On the Move is the show that you're listening to. Come in, join us. We're streaming live on Facebook, on YouTube, Channel Africa and Channel Africa 1. And of course, on the various platforms where you can listen live. And we're going into the conversation of this hour. You know, the term coloured is quite contentious, not just here in South Africa, but across the world. We've seen, the trolling of South African superstar Tyler from the American community saying that word is wrong. But in South Africa, the word coloured is completely different from the context of anywhere else in the world. In fact, we're the only ones in the world that use it in this particular way. And this term coloured refers to people of a very mixed heritage in South Africa, a group that emerged during colonial and apartheid times. Historically, they were classified as separate racial group, distinct from both black Africans and white people. And today, the identity is still quite complex, shaped by a diverse range of cultural backgrounds, including African, Khoi, and European ancestry. So, according to a recent report, the coloured community in South Africa's Gauteng province has reported a disproportionately high feelings of insecurity, high feelings of social alienation, and economic strain compared to the general provincial averages. And there's a palpable sense that their voices are unheard, and that systematic obstacles persist in denying them full inclusion in social, political, and economic life of the province. So we're unpacking the findings of the report compiled by the Gauteng City Regional Observatory. Joining us on the line is Shamsunisa Miles Timotheus, who is a junior researcher at the Gauteng City Region Observatory. Shamsunisa, thank you so much for helping us unpack this very important issue this morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Benjamin and Palesa. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for taking your time to speak to us. First, let's speak about this, coloured term. In South Africa, it is a racial group. We're the only ones in the world that have this particular racial group, but it has a lot of mixed emotions, a lot of history, and a lot of, problems that we see from this term itself, from the people themselves, the coloniality, the apartheid era. So maybe let's give some brief history on the term and its people before we go into the findings themselves.
Okay, that's perfect. So I think what I want to start off is by talking about the identity formation and where colored really comes from. And I think Professor Erasmus really speaks about this in her book, where she explains that colored identity is developed through a process that she calls creolization, which is a blending of cultures, as you mentioned, because we know we have the colonizers, we had the native people of the land, and later on we had the slaves that were also brought in. And it was the blending of these cultures that created a new culture, and it's continuously and creatively remade by colored people, and it's a way to help them make sense of their lives, because in reality colonialists came in and they started differentiating people, and then apartheid came and institutionalized words like colored, where we now say that, okay, we have black, we have white, and colored is kind of everybody who doesn't fit in there. And then as things progressed and as the act amended, they then started to differentiate between different types of colored, and separated Indians out of the colored category as well.
You know, it's an interesting one because you're looking at it historically, and someone might say that, you know, there were benefits that the colored community had during the apartheid era because they were leveraged as maybe better than the black category. Do you think that kind of notion has complicated the idea of identity for the colored community?
Definitely. I mean, there's a lot of debates going around, and I think a lot of the times we hear the words that I'm not black enough, I'm not white enough. And I think where it comes from is that during apartheid, yes, colored people were given certain privileges, but it was really for the benefit of the apartheid government. It wasn't given to the colored people for their benefit, and it was given to help the apartheid government. And so I think a lot of the times we don't understand that really colored people were being used in a lot of ways.
Well, let's speak about this report compiled by yourselves as the Gauteng City Region Observatory. What is the primary motivation behind conducting this particular research and writing the article?
So through the GCRO's survey, and I just want to quickly explain that the GCRO is a research association, which is a partnership between the University of Johannesburg, the University of the Witwatersrand, the Gauteng provincial government, and Salga Gauteng. And we do a quality of life survey every 2 to 3 years to understand what's happening in residents' lives. And when we dug into the data and we disaggregated it by population group, we saw some concerning data points. And after this, we then looked into the literature to try and see what is the literature saying about these data points. And we discovered that there's not been a lot of research into understanding the experiences of colored people, particularly within Gauteng, and a lot of the work that has been done focused on the Western Cape. So the project and the article, it really aims to fill this gap and to bring empirical evidence, the lived experience, and the history all together to explain it.
And what were the key findings that stand out for you?
It's definitely safety, because we see that 61% of people, colored people in Gauteng, feel like the crime situation in the areas in which they lived had worsened. And this is 61% compared to 48% provincially. We also see a very high number of colored people indicating that the main problem in their community is gangsterism, where 2.3% of the people identified it as an issue compared to the provincial average of 0.2. And we even see a call or a cry for help, because we asked people about protests in the area, and 17% of colored people said that the most recent protest in their area was around crime and safety, which again is higher than the provincial average.
Okay, Shamsunisa, let's speak about some of the other things that the colored community find. I mean, they think that they've been disproportionately alienated socially here in South Africa post-apartheid, which is something that's, very important to mention because there are pre-apartheid, post-apartheid contexts that we have to keep in mind when speaking about any racial group in South Africa. So let's speak about post-apartheid South Africa and the colored community in the Gauteng province.
Okay, so I can speak to racial discrimination. So we asked people how often they feel racially discriminated against, and 18% of colored people said they either always or often feel racially discriminated against compared to the provincial average of 13. We also see a lot of discouraged work seekers within the colored community, which is double that of the provincial average, leading us to ask the question, but why are there more colored discouraged work seekers? We also see that they have feelings like saving money is just impossible, which is 10 percentage points higher than the provincial average. But we also see this high dissatisfaction with the post-apartheid government as well, where the dissatisfaction with provincial government and national government is 10 percentage points higher than that for the Gauteng province. We even asked people, like, do you intend to vote in the next election? And some people indicated no, and we asked why do you not want to vote? And 40% of the colored people who said they're not going to vote said they don't want to vote because politics is just a waste of time, it's broken promises, and it doesn't help them in any way.
All right, let's take a quick break. Stay with us on the line. We're speaking to Shamsunisa Miles Timotheus, junior researcher at the Gauteng City Region Observatory. They've just compiled research that says that the colored community in South Africa's Gauteng province feel disproportionately high feelings of insecurity, social alienation, economic strain compared to the general provincial averages. And so we'll continue to unpack this after this break.
AUSISA, the Association of Water and Sanitation Institution of South Africa, is a platform uniting Africa's water professionals. This November, Africa leads the conversation on water and sanitation. Join global and African leaders at the AUSISA Africa and Global South Dialogue 2025 from the 9th till the 12th of November at the Emperor's Palace, Johannesburg. From policy innovation, this is where action meets collaboration for a water-secure future. Register today at ausisa-watersan-dialogue.org or follow at AUSISA on social media. AUSISA, working together for sustainable water and sanitation security in Africa. Step into the heart of the day on the move with Palesa and Benjamin.
Racial segregation is something that historically characterizes South Africa as a nation. To this day, whenever you're applying for anything, right, you'll get a little form. Maybe you're applying for a loan, maybe you're applying at school, or whatever it is, any kind of application that is significant, you'll get a racial category that asks you what race are you. In South Africa, it's either black, white, or colored, and then there's this also interesting box that's called other, right? And that is something that I've always wondered, if these racial divides were something that were actually harmful for a nation, why do they also remain intact when it comes to also offering opportunities? And we're talking about a grouping in South Africa that's widely misunderstood by South Africans, but also by many outside of South Africa. That's the colored reference of people of mixed heritage in South Africa. And we're unpacking findings of a report that was compiled by the Gauteng City Region Observatory on this one. Shamsunisa is joining us to help us unpack a little bit more on this one. I mean, the identity issue is an issue, right? Because even the report highlights it in a very comprehensive way in terms of the cultural identities. What makes it an issue is the fact that it's very much misunderstood even in the South African context, but as we've seen even internationally, people don't understand what we also mean by the colored community in South Africa. Could you unpack a little bit about that colored identity that stood out as you reflected upon it in this report? Because I see there is an observation of that.
Yes, thank you, Benjamin. So I think I just want to emphasize what I said earlier about colored identity being developed through this process of creolization, which is the blending of cultures. So between the Dutch, the English, the slaves that were brought in, the native people of the land, so the
Sure.
Khoisan, and how they creatively remade a culture for themselves. But I think it's also important to identify that people will identify differently. And I think what was very interesting for me, I came out with, I'm going to highlight 3 different ways that colored people identify, but there's a lot more.
Okay.
And the first one is that there are colored people who identify as colored, they accept the label colored, and they believe that colored is much more than a race, that it's their culture, it's their tradition, right? And we see this in Tessa Dooms' book. But we also see that there are some people who would rather not be classified as colored, who want to be classified according to their lineage and want to be called Khoisan. And then the third one I want to highlight is that you also have people who reject race because they believe that race is this social construct and it's a biological identifier, which doesn't make sense to them because it's based on how we look, right? And they would rather be identified as Black under a political view, which is in line with your Steve Biko Black consciousness, where we refer to Black people as being anyone who was oppressed.
Mm-hmm. Shamsunisa, this also creates a lot of dynamics because in a country like South Africa, we usually align political excess to racial definitions, right? And, you know, when you think about South Africa's history, it's always felt like, you know, you align yourself to a particular political ideology based on the color of your skin. What's happening here in the colored community?
I think it's still something that we are investigating. So we came up with the same question. And so we're going to look at the political attitudes of colored people and whether their votes has been fluid or whether their votes has changed over time. But I think the one thing we can recognize is this political dissatisfaction, that they're not happy, that they don't believe that the government who was in place looked out for them. And so it's definitely something we still need to investigate and to understand.
All right, let's speak about this is more than just a research that says this is how colored people feel, but these feelings are quite valid because everybody deserves services, everyone deserves social integration, whether back in the apartheid era and of course today, but this is something that many people still struggle with. Based on the research that you guys did, what are the most urgent issues that require attention from the likes of policymakers and community leaders?
So I'm going to say it's the sense of feeling and safety within the communities, because if we look at Maslow's hierarchy, safety is the second most important. And the problem of gangsterism. I mean, we've read a book from Venter back in 1974, and he said 50 years ago that the main problem in the Western Township area, which is Westbury today, is gangsterism. 50 years later, guess what? We still have gangsterism. So it's safety, community, and gangsterism. But I think that before attempting to solve problems and telling policymakers what to do, it's that we have to engage with community members, and through the active participation of both community members and the people trying to solve the problem, that we find a solution together, because that empowers people, that empowers the community to help them, help you come up with a solution for them, so that we don't just implement or impose a policy like we know the apartheid government did.
Mm-hmm. So where to from here? What are the next steps? Do you have recommendations that are part of the report, and maybe next steps can be taken to identify some of these serious matters that are in this report?
Yeah, so the next steps for us is to look a little bit further. So we've used data from a survey, and a lot of the data gives us the information, it gives us the description, but it doesn't give us the nuances as to why this is happening and how we can fix it. So the next steps for us as an organization and as the project is to try and understand this in a little bit more detail and to write a comprehensive report where we would obviously also include next steps of what could help the community.
All right, where can we find the report?
So the report you can find it on our website, but this report will only be ready by the end of next year because we're doing a lot of groundwork and field work, and we're also trying to include the voices of the people that we are talking about.
All right, thank you so much. Really happy to have unpacked this with you. And I think these are issues that we still have to look at quite deeply in South Africa because they also are attached to a very painful past and, a painful present as well, as we can see through the likes of this report. But for now, thank you so much, Shamsunisa, for joining us and helping us unpack this report. That is Shamsunisa Miles Timotheus, a junior researcher at the Gauteng City Region Observatory, speaking to us about a recent report by the GCRO, speaking about the coloured community in South Africa's Gauteng province. It's almost 9:30 Central Africa time. Let's move on to get our latest sports.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
We begin with football news. Ivory Coast and Senegal claimed Africa's final two automatic qualifying spots for the 2026 FIFA World Cup as both sides registered victories yesterday. Senegal claimed a 4-0 home win over Mauritania to secure first place in Group B. A Sadio Mane free kick put the hosts ahead on the stroke of halftime, and the former Liverpool forward slotted in his second before Iliman Ndiaye added a fine solo effort and Habib Diallo rounded off the scoring late on. The Teranga Lions finished the campaign 2 points ahead of DR Congo, who beat Sudan 1-0 thanks to Theo Mbongoda's first half strike. 15 years since South Africa last appeared in the FIFA World Cup finals and some 23 years since they last qualified for the showpiece, Bafana Bafana will be back at football's top table. South Africa beat Rwanda 3-0 in the final CAF Group C World Cup qualifier at the Mbombela Stadium in South Africa's Mpumalanga province to top the group and progress to the World Cup finals in North America next year. Talent Mbata and Oswin Apolis scored in the first half to send Mzansi, that's South Africa, into rapture and ignite World Cup dreams the length and breadth of the country. Evidence Makgopa, the third Orlando Pirates player on target on the night, scored from a corner in the second half to seal the win. Bafana Bafana coach Hugo Bros was a relieved man at the end of the match.
It feels wonderful. We all knew that we could do it. We believed in ourselves, and I think you saw it from the beginning of the game that we wanted to win that game.
Bros says football will never be the same in South Africa. He was speaking after becoming the first coach to qualify the senior men's team for 2 back-to-back Africa Cup of Nations tournaments as well as the World Cup.
I heard somebody saying on the pitch after the game, everybody laughed with Bafana. We were a joke, and now we are there. We are on a high level, and everybody respects us. And this again is not the work only for me. So at last, I think that this is something that this nation needed. A different way to look at football.
On to golf news. Luke Donald has delivered and then some while serving as Team Europe's captain for each of the last 2 Ryder Cups. After leading Europe to a 16-1.5 to 11.5 win in his debut in Rome 2 years ago, Donald became the first captain to lead a road team to victory since 2012 with a 15-13 victory last month at Bethpage State Park in Farmingdale, New York. Donald has drawn praise as being perhaps Europe's greatest Ryder Cup captain of all time. He's just the second European captain to win multiple events and the first since Tony Jacqueline won consecutive Ryder Cups in 1985 and 1987. Before competing this week at the DP World India Championship in New Delhi, Donald was asked if he's given any more consideration to captaining a third consecutive Ryder Cup squad in the 46th event at Adare Maina in Ireland in 2027. Now we'll end with the athletics. Olympic 200-meter champion Litsile Tebogo and World 400-meter champion Colin Kibina Tsipi have qualified for the newly introduced World Athletics Ultimate Championship meet. The inaugural event, to be held in Budapest, Hungary, from the 11th to the 13th of September 2026, will offer a record-setting prize pot of $10 million, the largest ever offered in a single track and field event. According to World Athletics, every athlete lining up in Budapest will be financially rewarded for their performance, with the champion in each event, taking home the top prize of $150,000. World Athletics also anticipate that new partnerships and enhanced promotional rights will unlock greater financial opportunities for the stars and the sport. The fast-paced 3-day competition will feature only top-ranked or only the best of the best athletes. Automatic qualifiers include 26 Olympic champions from Paris 2024, 26 world champions from the recent World Athletic Championships in Tokyo, and 25 Diamond League winners in the 2026 season. Other athletes will qualify based on their performance in 2026 via the World Rankings qualification system. For any sports stories you'd like to share with us, please send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +2711 714 4459. This is Channel Africa Sport with me, Fikile Lungwati.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective. Africa. It's time to plug into the heartbeat of the continent. Tune in to Channel Africa, your go-to radio station that broadcasts in 5 different languages.
L'Afrique du Sud célèbre la journée nationale du
Kabla hujaitwa kwa jina la Double K
or more of our forests have been destroyed.
Partido Africano da Independência da Guiné.
Channel Africa represents every corner of this amazing land. From Lagos to Cape Town, Nairobi to Dakar, we've got you covered with the freshest news, music, and cultures. So, turn up the volume, feel the rhythm. Enjoy the conversation. Channel Africa, the African perspective.
Thank you, Fikile Lungwati. Let's move on to get our latest business news with Buntle Headbush.
Business news on Channel Africa, the African perspective.
Thanks, Palesa, and a very good morning to our listeners. Our top story at this hour: the city of Cape Town in South Africa has reacted to President Cyril Ramaphosa's assertion that the city has done worse than the average of all metros in the country, saying he's trying to save face. Ramaphosa was replying to a question in the National Council of Provinces, where he cited Stats SA data and a budget analysis of the city of Cape Town. He says in the decade up to 2022, the city has failed in expanding access to services such as refuse removal, pipe water, electricity and flush toilets. Cape Town Mayor Jordan Hill-Lewis says the president is attempting to do damage control after endorsing Cape Town's successive clean audit reports during a meeting with ANC councillors last month.
The president is still trying to do damage control after he dared to speak the truth a couple of weeks ago when he said that Cape Town and other towns governed by the DA are examples to be emulated and copied. In fact, they are the only examples of progress and good governance in South Africa anywhere. Where his party governs, there is only decay, corruption and collapsed services. That is the sea of ruin and failure that he presides over. The simple, irrefutable fact is that despite the enormous challenges of poverty and unemployment we face, Cape Town is steadily moving forward.
A digital revolution is sweeping through South Africa's informal economy. Cash is on the run as millions of South Africans, from spaza shop owners to street vendors, are now tapping, scanning and sending money via the click of a button. The founder of the digital payment platform Alta Pos, Thulani Ngwenya, says digital transactions are not just a convenience, they're an efficient, safe lifeline driving financial inclusion.
So QR code, if you know the old barcode that used to be scanned using those barcode scanners, so QR code is more like an image that can be scanned using your mobile device. And it takes you to a particular place depending on the purpose. In this instance, it enables you to either receive money or pay for goods or use it for donations or different things that just involve money. So you simply can transact digitally using your mobile device if you don't have a physical card.
A group of Kenyan non-governmental organizations have accused the government of stoking economic inequality and driving up national debt in a written briefing to the head of the International Monetary Fund. They have urged the IMF and World Bank to incorporate demands for better governance in Kenya and not just focus on economic targets in their assistance programs, because the country's fiscal crisis was as a result of governance neglect and institutional erosion. This is despite the fact that President William Ruto's government has claimed credit for staving off a crippling default. The Kenyan government is in the process of negotiating a new financial program with the IMF. The African Parliamentary Network on Illicit Financial Flows and Taxation Continental Conference is underway in Johannesburg, South Africa. The conference brings together parliamentarians, policymakers and experts from across the continent to reflect on progress made and explore ways to strengthen Africa's fight against illicit financial flows, and comes at the back of the just concluded 13th Pan-African Conference on Illicit Financial Flows and Taxation. Executive Director at the Tax Justice Network Africa, Chennai Mukumba, elaborates on some of the issues that have been highlighted at the conference.
Over the past 10 years, we've been able to really profile the magnitude and seriousness of the loss of illicit financial flows from the continent. So prior to the publication of the report we were celebrating last week, there was almost no recognition of the fact that as a continent, we were losing all of these resources. And it was primarily due to the practices of multinational corporations on the continent, right? So the first thing that the report did was flag this as a mainstream issue that we need to all address.
The United States has seized more than $15 billion worth of cryptocurrency. This is part of measures taken by Washington and London against a Cambodia-based network of scam centres. The BBC's Caroline Hawley has more details.
The UK government says the scam centres operate in Cambodia, Myanmar and across Southeast Asia. It says the centres in disused casinos or purpose-built compounds use fake job adverts to attract workers who are then forced to carry out online fraud under threat of torture. Scams often include convincing victims to join fraudulent cryptocurrency investment schemes. The UK government said the masterminds behind them were ruining the lives of vulnerable people and buying up London homes to store their money.
And now for a look at the indicators. $1 US in Nigeria is trading at 1,460 naira this morning. In Botswana, it's trading at 13 pula 28. Kenya, 128 shilling and 28. And in Zambia, it's at 22 kwacha 63. Moving to the BRICS countries, $1 US in Brazil is trading at 5 rial 47. In Russia, it's trading at 79 rubles 98. India, it's at 88 rupees 76. China, 7 yuan 12, and in South Africa, the dollar is trading at 17 rand 38 cents this morning. $1 is trading at 75 pence to the British pound and 86 to the euro. Looking at commodities, gold is trading at $4,188 per ounce, platinum $1,666 per ounce, while Brent crude oil is at $62.20 a barrel. And those are your business news. I'll be back with another update in the next hour. For any business stories you'd like to share with us, please send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +2711 714 4459. For Channel Africa Business, I am Buntle Headbush.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African perspective. Ahoy, matey!
Captain here to help, right, boys?
Set sail with us on a digital voyage like no other. Channel Africa has a treasure trove of awesomeness. That is our website and social media pages.
Tell me, why are you here?
We want you to be part of our adventure.
The winds are changing, Captain. And this time...
Imagine a world where curiosity knows no bounds, where entertainment meets enlightenment, and where every click leads to the African perspective. Visit us on our website, www.channelafrica.co.za, or follow us on Instagram or on X at Channel Africa 1. Go on, like us on Facebook at Channel Africa 1. So, spread the word, tell a friend. that Channel Africa's online variety is what they need. On the web, Channel Africa, the African perspective. The rhythm of Africa, the pulse of the continent. This is Channel Africa, the African perspective.
Is it the that I don't give? Is it the man that I don't miss? Is the song why we get along? Or am I coming on a little strong? Is it the way this dress unzips? Is it the girls that I came with? Cause the more that they tell me don't, is the more that it turn me on. I can't leave, I can't leave. Leave you alone with your eyes on me, no. I can't leave, I can't leave. Dancing alone don't look right on me, yeah. I can't leave, I can't leave. Leave you alone with your eyes on me, no. I can't leave, I can't leave. Dancing alone don't look right on me. Is it wrong that I wanna get right? Wanna get right with you? Is it wrong that I wanna get right? Wanna get right? Is it the cup when it leaves my lips that got me thinking things like this? Like what it's like when you take me home, and what it's like when you take it off. Is it the idea that I like, or do I really wanna make you mine? Or do we leave it all on the floor? Either way, I need a little more. I can't leave, I can't leave. Leave you alone with your eyes on me, no. I can't leave, I can't leave. Dancing alone don't look right on me, yeah. I can't leave, I can't leave. Leave you alone with your eyes on me, no. I can't leave, I can't leave. Dancing alone don't look right on me. Is it wrong that I wanna get right? Wanna get right with you? Is it wrong that I wanna get right? Wanna get right with you? Is it wrong that I wanna get right? Wanna get right with you? Is it wrong that I wanna get right? Wanna get right with you?
It's Tyler. This one is titled Is It? Quite relevant, in fact, to the conversation we've been having, because she's been trolled and trending
Shame,
with the American community saying, hey, do you want to be black or not? What is colored? That is derogatory here in America.
Sure.
You can't call yourself that. And it's like, well, I'm South African, and you actually have to go and understand the history of where I come from and why I identify as who I identify as. And in fact, I'm not sorry that I said it, because it really is my origin. It's who I am, and it's part of my community. And in fact, you should learn a little bit more. You should try and educate yourself. If you want to be a fan of mine, learn about who I am, learn about the history of my country. Then you'll understand why I call myself what I call myself.
Do a little bit of anthropology before you get to know me.
Yeah. Which is okay, I think, because of course the term means something different.
Yeah.
She's gained international stardom, and it makes sense that people don't understand, particularly the American community, because the term colored is something very different and very derogatory in their history and their landscape, right, and their perspective. But she's not American, she's South African, and she says, this is who I am, and I'm proud to call myself what I am.
You know, that's the big thing about her, is that she shakes the building, doesn't she, when she enters into it.
Yeah.
And I think the fact that, America is not as nuanced as us here in South Africa. I mean, we've got how many official languages here?
13?
Think about it.
Yeah.
No.
Official languages in South Africa?
Yeah, just generally, how many languages would we have here?
Oh, no, we have a lot. We only have 13 official languages,
yes,
but we have many more
that's how
languages.
nuanced we are.
Yeah.
Even our official languages don't make provision for all the languages that we have here in South Africa. So that's what makes things very complicated for us. And I think South Africans also take for granted how nuanced they are in how they have an openness towards others. And if you think about it, that we live in Johannesburg, South Africa, it's not just South Africans living here. When you step outside of this building, you know that we've got Africa in the CBD every single day. We've got people from different parts of the continent living here. And I think that's what makes that complexity even more interesting. But it has a social consequence, right? Because it means that do we leverage our identities in order to actually gain access to certain things? It's also very interesting, like who gets access to service delivery, who gets access to jobs. There's still a lot of inequalities when it comes to that. I think this report that we spoke of really reflects that.
Oh, there are a lot of inequalities that exist here in South Africa, not just for the colored community, for many other communities. And every community has the right to feel how they feel, because unfortunately we still have to speak about things in the context of pre and post apartheid, pre and post coloniality, because those things still affect us today.
Yeah, and also there's self-discriminatory ways of being as well for us as Africans. I was just watching what's happening in the CBD recently when, there's a bit of a cleanup that's happening in Johannesburg before the G20 comes into town, right? And most of the people who are affected are African migrants, but also local blacks who are working in the CBD, in the streets there. So that cleanup, you're kind of seeing a war zone where people from Tanzania, people from Ethiopia are saying, well, we are right here because you, the locals, are here. And the locals are saying, no. You are the ones who are supposed to leave the space because we are the priority as street sellers here. And it's just an interesting dynamic to see how all those things are related to how we identify ourselves when it comes to our nationality, but also the color of our skin.
Your say, of course, is most important to us. So let us know what you think of this conversation at Channel Africa 1. Come in on X, come in on Instagram, come in on TikTok, come in anywhere. And of course, on our WhatsApp number, we can hear your voice through a voice note, or just text us on +27 63 406 9126.
Africa. It's time to plug into the heartbeat of the continent. Tune in to Channel Africa, your go-to radio station that broadcasts in 5 different languages.
L'Afrique du Sud célèbre la journée nationale du
Kabla hujaitwa kwa jina la Double K,
or more of our forests have been destroyed.
Tamo Partido Africano da Independência da Guiné.
See, Channel Africa represents every corner of this amazing land. From Lagos to Cape Town, Nairobi to Dakar, we've got you covered with the freshest news, music, and cultures. So, turn up the volume, feel the rhythm. Enjoy the conversation. Channel Africa, the African perspective. Palesa and Benjamin, fuel your day with fresh African perspective on Channel Africa.
All right, this is a beautiful one. Shasha featuring Calvin Momo and Sykes is titled Ndawa. Now you tuned in to On the Move right here on Channel Africa. Well, we're going to be moving on into the next hour of today's conversations. More conversations, of course. And if you want to contribute into this hour's conversation, speaking about a recent report by the Gauteng City Region Observatory that highlights that the coloured community in South Africa's Gauteng province reports disproportionately high feelings of insecurity, of unsafety, of social alienation and economic strain. And that's the conversation we've been having. So you can contribute to that on various social media platforms. But we are about to move on to speak about migration, which is a conversation we've been having a lot more. And we've seen a trend, right? A trend of a particular place in the world where people are saying this is where we should be. In fact, more and more Africans are moving to Dubai for various reasons, of course, right? They want more money, they want to earn more, they see it as a new land of opportunity. But we're zeroing in particular to the famous zero income tax that people see as beneficial. And when we're looking at that, it seems quite plain, right? Move to Dubai, obviously earn more money because there isn't any income tax. But we're not really taking into account all the other factors that might come into play. And that's the conversation we'll be having in the next hour of the show. What do Africans need to understand about residency, about double taxation, and the fine print of financial freedom abroad? That's coming up in a bit.
Hey, the bubbly Emma Bashford is going to join us for that one.
Yeah.
She says it straight and plain, and she gives us the warnings before we get on that plane. Do you see what I did there?
Yes, I see that. Go, Benji. Are you promoting your rapper career? Is
yeah,
it coming
man.
up?
Find it on YouTube Music right there. You know what I mean? But hey, we always love having Emma to really be real with us. She's one of those immigration specialists that is really one who gives us the warnings.
Well, let's move on before we go into the second hour of the show. Another quick break, a little bit of music, and of course we're going into migration, immigration, taxation in the next hour of the show.
Benjamin Moshatama and Palesa on the move.
Ooh, yeah. Song she sings so
they sing so. She never ever do. When we did nobody there, she did like the one dress, you know. She did do the dirty dance, you know. Valentino she did wear, you know. She call me funk master flex, you know. Everything I want she give me. She tell me every day she wanna see me, oh yeah. Bad boy Wheezy, star boy Wheezy boy, I make her dance, I give her money. You know my girl nice and I swear she the dress, you know. Valentino she the wear, you know. Gucci be the dress, you know. I know they let us stress, you know.
Wheezy boy, make me dance. Daddy, oh, make me dance. Star boy, make me dance. Daddy, oh, make me dance. Wheezy boy, make me dance. Daddy, oh, make me dance. Star boy, make me dance. Daddy, oh, make me dance.
1, 2, I love the way you dance. I love your kitty dance. I love the way you dance. I'm 3, 4, knocking on the door. Wine for me, baby girl. Give me one slow, girl. 5, 6, tip on your toe. Time for the dance, girl. What I do dance, I'm 7, 8. Don't beat it. Do what the teacher say. Don't come late, girl. 9, 10, open and close. Dance for the dance, girl. Oh yeah, wine up. 11, 12, wine up close.
It's Wiz Kid. We're wrapping up this hour of the show with this tune, Daddy Yo. But for now, let's go back to our news desk and head on over into the next hour. Our news update with Jolane Tulongwebe.
SABC News. The African Perspective.
Thank you, Palesa. Top stories. The Sawa tributes pour in for Kenya's former Prime Minister, and some bodies returned to Israel by Hamas identified. Good morning. Tributes are pouring in for Kenya's former Prime Minister Raila Odinga, who has died at the age of 80. His Orange Democratic Movement Party confirmed his passing this morning. The Kenyan government is yet to make a formal announcement. Odinga is reported to have suffered cardiac arrest and was rushed to hospital, where he was pronounced dead in the southern Indian city of Kochi. Odinga's family is expected to hold a press briefing. Channel Africa's Alex Kiari has the story.
With the reports that the former Prime Minister has passed away, we are actually waiting for the State House to communicate this formally to the nation, and also his political party, which I can see media houses have already deployed over there to also be able to react to the same. The former Prime Minister's health has been in the news for the last 1 week after it was confirmed that he had traveled to India to seek treatment, but we are still not yet informed of exactly what was being treated. But some unconfirmed reports say that he had undergone some brain surgery, and he was recovering or recuperating over there. And that's when this happened, 4 a.m. rather, local time, that's Kenyan time.
African jurists are demanding the urgent adoption of artificial intelligence to protect whistleblowers. They've argued that algorithms can create secure, anonymous reporting channels to prevent incidents such as the killing of Gauteng Health Department official Babita Diokaran in August 2021. Higher Education Media's Edwin Naidu says that technological intervention is essential.
So last month at the biennial International Bar Association African Regional Forum Conference in Joburg, jurists and legal experts, they talked about AI and what it could be doing to help, in the fight against crime, particularly being used as an aid for whistleblowing. They argued that, Africa is home to like 70% of global mobile money transactions, which makes it very uniquely positioned to harness the power of AI.
The South African government and police are in the final stages of implementing the use of body cameras for officers. That's according to Acting Deputy National Police Commissioner Dineo Nkua. Nkua says the budget for the purchase has been approved and allocated for the current financial year. She made the announcement at the graduation ceremony for the first group of officers who have completed a new course by the Safety and Security SETA in Durban. The police plan to buy 100 cameras each year, which cost just over $1,600 each. Ngoa has encouraged the officers to embrace technology in policing.
We need technology to assist us to fight crime. We know nowadays we are faced with cybercrime, and many other crimes that requires technology to fight them. We really need police officers who can use technology to fight crime. I know that our division, technology management, they're finalizing their specifications so that those body-worn cameras can be procured. So we are hopeful that before the end of this financial year, we'll have procured the body-worn cameras for our police officers.
Local media in Sudan are reporting that food supplies in Al Fasher are running out. This after the paramilitary rapid support forces completed a drone and artillery attack on a displacement camp in the capital of North Darfur State. The city has been under siege since April. The BBC's Gillian Bedford has the details.
Reports emerged at the weekend that the food kitchens that have become essential to keeping the civilian population alive were closing down. The scant supplies of smuggled food that had been reaching Al Fasher were disrupted once the berm was completed. Even supplies of animal fodder have dwindled, and civilians in Al Fasher have been eating these for some time. Only the armed forces in the city are being resupplied via airdrops by Khartoum. All the while, the RSF's deadly offensive continues as it tries to take the last city outside its control in western Sudan.
And finally, 3 of the 4 bodies returned by Israel to Israel by Hamas yesterday have now been identified. But forensic scientists are reported to be investigating whether the 4th body may not be that of a former hostage. Hamas had previously handed over a body of a Palestinian by mistake in an exchange earlier this year. The BBC's Hugo Bashega.
20 bodies remain in Gaza. All of them should return under the terms of this deal. And according to Israeli media reports, 4 more bodies are expected to be returned later today. Now, the Israeli authorities have threatened to delay the reopening of the Rafah border crossing between Gaza and Egypt, and also to restrict the entry of humanitarian aid into Gaza as punishment. This morning, the Israeli public broadcaster is reporting that that will not happen.
Recapping the top story, the Sawa tributes are pouring in for Kenya's former Prime Minister Raila Odinga, who has died at the age of 80. For any news stories you would like to share with us, please do send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +27 11 714 4459. For Channel Africa News, I'm Jonani Tulo Wepe.
SABC News. The African Perspective.
All right, man, 6 minutes past 10 o'clock Central African time. Thank you to Joalane Tulo for making sure that we're updated in the news. She'll be back in the next hour to give us those updates at around 10:30 Central African time. We'll also have our sports update. Well done to Bafana yesterday with Rwanda. Did you see Pirates in the form of Bafana?
Oh, my goodness. Bafana has qualified into the FIFA World Cup.
All right,
so we're going to the Americas.
Yeah, we are going to the Americas. Donald Trump has no option but to let us in this time around. And yeah, we're looking forward to that. Well, in our second hour, we're going to be looking at travel. We usually see the advantage of being tax-free when we go to countries like Dubai. But is it that simple, or is it more nuanced than that? Emma Bashford, an immigration specialist, will help us on that one.
Yeah, absolutely. We have an on-the-move poll up on our X handle. That's at Channel Africa 1. And of course, we're asking you the question, what would be your reason to relocating to Dubai? Is it the business opportunities? Is it the luxury lifestyle that we all see on social media? Is it for networking, or exactly that, zero income tax? So go on our On the Move poll at Channel Africa 1 and let us know what your thoughts are in this hour's conversations.
Africa Update on Channel Africa with Lulu Kabu.
Mozambique's opposition leader Venancio Mondlane has been charged with incitement to terrorism and disobedience. He faces a total of 5 charges. The charges relate to post-election violence that left hundreds of people dead. What punishment is he looking at?
The most severe charges are 2. One is incitement for terrorism, and also is being charged for mobilizing people for terrorism during the protests. These charges are really serious and severe. If he is condemned, is found guilty, he could serve 10 years plus years in jail, meaning that he would be banned from political participation, mainly for the 2028 and 2029 electoral cycle.
The director of CDD, the Center for Democracy and Development, Adriano Novunga.
Africa Update with Lulu Kabu, 12 to 1 p.m. Central African Time. Benjamin Moshatama and Palesa on the move.
So many reasons why I want it for you, my love. Now you want to retire with my love. See all the little good things you do, they make me no. This distance is taking a hold of me for sure. Baby, come closer. I want to make me there. Girl, I want to make you closer. I want to make you closer. Pull over. Should be not this kind of things where they make man see ya. And me, I understand. Say your dad know like me. See me, I won't make it no. Say me there for you, gotta. And if not the price be that, I feel like to see ya. I never traded you for nothing. This love will make me the jackpot shit. Without you, I know where to love. Without you, I'm not gonna tell me where this all been gone. I never traded you, baby. This love will make me the star. No. I'm not gonna tell me what's all been gone. I'm not to make me dead. I'm not gonna want to make you.
Oh, this is a beautiful one. An oldie but a goodie. Oxlade or Oxlade with Gulos. 10 minutes past 10 Central Africa time. We'll be back.
Hi there. Do you want to elevate your business and give it a voice in South Africa and Africa as a whole? Well, in that case, let Channel Africa make this a possibility. Channel Africa is willing to advertise your business for as little as 30,000 rands or $1,719.18. To get access to these great rates, send all requests to mukwenata@SABC. That's MOKOENATA@SABC. Channel Africa, the African perspective. Keeping you on the know and the move.
All right, 11 minutes past 10 o'clock Central African time. You are listening to On the Move. Well, let's speak a little bit about travel in our second hour. More and more Africans, from entrepreneurs and influencers to professionals and families, are picking up and saying, hey, let's go to Dubai. Let's go shopping. Let's go doing all these wonderful things there. But it's become also an image of a new land of opportunity, luxury lifestyle, global connections, and that famous zero income tax. But behind those wonderful skyscrapers and beautiful sunshine, this growing conversation, is moving to Dubai really a tax escape or just a tax delay? We're speaking to Emma Bashford, our friend here on the show, an immigration specialist who always helps us on these themes. Emma, welcome back on the show. It's been a while. How are you doing there? Emma, can you hear me? I can hear Emma, but I'm not quite sure if she's there. Emma, can you hear me? All right, let's see if we can sort out that line and speak about what do Africans need to understand about residency, double taxation, and the fine print of financial freedom, or what seems like financial freedom abroad. We'll answer those questions after the short break.
Africa It's time to plug into the heartbeat of the continent. Tune in to Channel Africa, your go-to radio station that broadcasts in 5 different languages.
L'Afrique du Sud célèbre la journée nationale du
Kabla hujaitwa kwa jina la Double K.
Or more of our forests have been destroyed. Tamo kutuli bwanji ndi Partido Africano da Independência da Guiné.
See, Channel Africa represents every corner of this amazing land. From Lagos to Cape Town, Nairobi to Dakar, we've got you covered with the freshest news, music, and cultures. So, turn up the volume, feel the rhythm. Enjoy the conversation. Channel Africa, the African perspective. On the move, weekdays, 9 a.m. to midday. Only on Channel Africa. #On the move.
All right, we've got a better line from Emma Bashford, immigration specialist, joining us there on the line. Emma, can you hear me this time?
I can, sorry.
Oh,
I
wonderful.
was being smart and joined on my computer rather than on my phone.
We always love you, Emma. It's been a while. I feel like we've just missed your energy on the show, so it's great having you back. Let's talk a little bit about places like Dubai that feel like they are tax-free. Are they tax-free?
So, Dubai's tax-free. Dubai is tax-free.
Sure.
Whatever you earn in Dubai will be tax-free. But you have to take into consideration, what job are you going for?
Okay.
Because
yeah.
some of the jobs, they're going to take your passport from you.
Okay.
And you're going to be caught.
Let's talk a little bit about that. When you consider to moving to Dubai, and you say, okay, I'm considering what kind of jobs there are for me. What are the ones that give good opportunity, and what are the ones that you wouldn't suggest going there for?
So the ones which I'd say you'd go for is if you're an innovator and you're opening up a business, you have the money behind you, so you can start business. You're not relying on anybody. Dubai loves innovators. The more businesses, the better. You have to consider as well that sometimes when you see these job opportunities as a private, working in a private household or within the building trade, are you going to have your own room? Are you going to share it with 12 complete strangers? Whereas the big businesses, if you're in like accountancy, things like this, if you go for a job with like KPMG in Dubai, the oil companies, you're going to be treated like royalty. Innovators like Lolo, Paloma, the South African Zimbabwean influencer, she moved from the UK to Dubai with her sister. You can see their lifestyle. The lifestyle's amazing, but they have money behind them and they have solid businesses.
Emma, I'm glad that you mentioned social media, because it's what actually is part of the reason that people are saying, wow, I want to live there as well. Because what we're seeing is a beautiful luxury lifestyle and people who are leaving, I guess, less satisfactory environments, and all of a sudden they have all this money, they can send money home and they're living a beautiful life. But there's more sides to the story there. And as you said, it's the reasons that you're going there in particular. What should we know as Africans, and what kind of research should we do before making the decision to go live in Dubai or anywhere else in the world for that matter?
The financial, in all honesty, what you're seeing on social media, all them beautiful pictures, things like this, they've been edited. We've just come back from Morocco, for instance. The photos are stunning, but what you didn't see is my friend was kicked off of a camel. You don't see her falling over. You see, yes, she's in the other office.
Sure.
But you'll see photos and you go, I want that lifestyle. But there's also like the cost of living, the lifestyle creep. You want everybody back home to see how fantastic your lifestyle is. That you've got the car, that you've got this, that you've got that. But if you look at your rent in South Africa or your car payments, they're going to be adequate to what you earn. When you go to places like to buy, even to rent a 1-bedroom flat, you're looking at something in the local currency. It's for a 1-bedroom flat, 5,500 to 7,500 dirham.
Wow.
It's more than quadruple what it would be in rand. So they have to get in their food. You're not going to find fresh food because they have to get all their fresh food in. Transportation costs. You're going to have to end up buying a car. You're probably going to buy a really nice car as well. But it's a lifestyle creep. Like going back to the social media, you see Lolo over in the UK, she had a car. Whereas in Dubai, she doesn't. She'll rent a car for a day or so, and it'll be something like a Maybach, things like this. But she understands, because she's financially savvy, that she's not going to have that car on a permanent basis because she's just blowing out money. You have more social. If you wanted to move and you've got family, are you married? Because you're not going to be able to live with your partner, which to me would be a godsend, but to other people, they might actually want to live with their partner.
I don't know what your partner has done to you, Emma, when you say it'll be a godsend moving to Dubai, not having to stay with your partner. But we'll carry on.
Watching. I work full time.
All right, Emma, I have to go for a break right now. We'll continue chatting with you about some of the issues to consider. But also in a country like Dubai, when you are living in South Africa, maybe if you are South African, it doesn't mean that you don't get taxed back home, right? I wonder if you should also consider the laws in your own home if you are living abroad, and how those could not have actually the same synergy with another country. So we'll continue that after the break. It's 20 minutes past 10 o'clock Central African time. Stay with us on The Move.
The Midnight Snack, 12 to 3 a.m.
Our fitness coach, her name is Yvonne Dimagazo Pasha. How to remain consistent with gyms, Dima, and I'm going to put you on the spot right now. As we are talking, I will send you my picture and I want you to tell me what you think I should work on. Because, you know, when I look at myself, Dima, I think I'm very handsome. I'm so good looking, like, oh my goodness. Like here at Channel Africa where I work, I think I'm one of the most good looking people ever. Like sometimes when I look at myself in the mirror, I never get used to how good I look. I'm just amazing.
You're okay with the way you're looking. You wish people could and now you want to put me on the spot.
Do I need gym?
Yeah. I mean, if you can just consider eating healthy, cutting down a few foodstuffs such as junk.
The Midnight Snack, every Monday, 12 to 3 a.m. with Chanduko Ligege. Palesa and Benjamin fuel your day with fresh African perspective on Channel Africa.
All right, we're chatting to our friend Emma Bashford, immigration specialist. There's a lot of things that we see that say, hey, if you want to live a good life, you have to go to Dubai. Some for, you know, the opportunities, the work, the luxury lifestyle that they see on social media, perhaps connections and that famous zero income tax. But Emma is saying, hang on, there's a lot of information you need to know before you make that decision. And she continues this conversation with us. You can participate in this conversation Our On the Move poll is up on our X handle at Channel Africa 1. What would be your reason for relocating to Dubai? Would it be the business opportunities, the luxury lifestyle, the networking, or the zero income tax? Let's hear what you have to say. Emma, let's continue this one. There are different laws depending where in Africa that you are coming from, and they keep getting revised for Dubai in particular. So, for example, the new revised law for Nigerians trying to go to Dubai, a ban on tourist visas, application for individuals aged 18 to 45 unless they're traveling with someone. Transit visa applications are on hold for those who are over the age of 45 if they're Nigerians, and so on and so forth, and many others. So how important is it to make that particular research for the country in Africa that you are from when you go to Dubai, because these laws keep changing and keep getting revised as well?
So make sure that you speak to someone who understands the immigration policies currently within that whatever country you're going to. Don't rely on social media. Facebook, that's the devil's playground, because everyone can give an opinion, but no one can ever give you an answer. It's always someone's auntie's uncle, aunt, best friend, and they done it 20 years ago, and look at them now. You don't know where they are. But
True.
It's also, you have to take into effect that Dubai, they have influxes of certain citizenships coming in. There may have been issues. I know there was the famous Nigerian guy who was always all over Snapchat, flashing his money and everything else. And Dubai got into an argument with the US because he made his money. They're claiming from, I think, pyramid schemes and scamming on FX. And they took a good couple of years to arrest him. In the meantime, he was traveling in and out of Dubai quite frequently. But it's normally an argument above us, and you have to draw your opinions when you see like a newspaper article and then go, that's why he's wearing all Gucci. But you've also got to take into effect tax scams. So there's the Income Tax Act. We know that SARS is the only functioning government body which can act straight away in South Africa. So are you sending money back home? Does that person back home have to declare it? Because every time I send money to my friends, they have to tell SARS.
Let's talk a little bit also about something many of us don't consider, that a place like Dubai is officially very much a Muslim and Islam country, but it does also allow kind of diverse freedoms of worship, and is very tolerant. But the fact that it is Islam, you have to also make that consideration going there, because you would have to respect that religion.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's if you're unmarried, so apparently you can now live together. If you're in your local community, because if you know that there's a bunch of South Africans or a bunch of Zimbabweans, a bunch of Brits, you're going to go live in like that little colonized section. But if you upset someone, they could tell the authorities that you're living with your boyfriend, and you're bringing over, when you go back home, bottles and bottles and bottles of whiskey. And that's illegal. Most of they'll turn a blind eye to it until you tick someone off, and then they'll come down on you. I've had clients who have moved to Dubai, and one was Jordanian, but she was a Christian Jordanian, and her partner was in the UK. To show that they were together, when he was visiting Dubai for 3-4 months, the only thing we could show was Uber Eat receipts and delivery receipts because they weren't allowed to stay in the same property. It's literally against the law. In most of these Muslim countries, they have it written in law, and it's crazy. You can buy alcohol, but it's the same as you're not allowed to buy alcohol on a Sunday. You know you can, but you have to pay someone a bribe.
Well, Emma,
so how big is the bribe going to be?
before we wrap this up, let's come back to the taxation issue, because that is one of the things that people, get lured into going to live there. Like, oh my goodness, I'm going to make so much money because I won't be taxed. But if you're even learning about the taxation of Dubai in particular, if you're moving there, you have to put in account the taxation laws of your own country as well and how that will affect you. Let's speak a little bit about that. It doesn't matter which country you are from here on the African continent. How important is research of the taxation in your home country, because you will still be be associated, your money will still be associated to your home country in some way or the other.
Yeah, so you've lived in Dubai for 10 years, you've made billions of rands, it's sitting in your account because you've lived frugally, you haven't got a Maybach or a Porsche, things like this, and you're like, you know what, I can now buy a house and go live back home. If you try and move that money from Dubai to South Africa and you now become a resident in South Africa, SARS is going to come down on you. SARS want your money, whether you like it or not. You need to fill in paperwork. You need to speak to someone who's oversees an account specialist who can legally move your money, whether it goes sit in Mauritius. I know Kenyan citizens who have literally sold £2 million houses in Kenya and moved to the UK. They've left the money in Dubai, not in Dubai, in Mauritius, and then moved to the UK. One of my friends made the error of moving the money from Mauritius over to the UK, and her bank reported her. Your bank will literally report you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have to look, are you going to stay in South Africa on a permanent basis? Is it going to be temporary, coming backwards and forwards? Are you going to spend 6 months here, 6 months there? So you have to look at the tax residency. So for South Africa, apparently the tax accountancy, you have to be physically present in South Africa for 91 days for the year of assessment. So if you're having annual leave going back to South Africa, or you're taking unpaid leave and going back home, are you exceeding 91 days and spending like Christmas, the summer, things like this over here? Because you're going to run up a tax bill whether you like it or not, and you haven't even been living or working there in your brain.
All right, Emma, we do have to wrap it up there. I'm sorry to cut you off there. We've run out of time, Emma, but we always appreciate your opinions. I like the fact that it's so straightforward. We know exactly what we're getting ourselves into or not getting ourselves into when we have a conversation with you. It's always a pleasure. Thank you, Emma.
Okay, enjoy.
Thank you.
And we always love you throwing shade there, Emma, in between.
That's immigration specialist Emma Bashford speaking about all the things you need to know if you're thinking of moving to Dubai, from taxation, residency, and the fine print that you make sure that you have to know. Well, let's bring back Fikile Lengwadi. It's time once again for our sports.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
We kick off with football news. Bafana are back in the FIFA World Cup after an absence of more than 2 decades. South Africa last qualified for the global footballing showpiece when Korea and Japan co-hosted it back in 2002. Bafana edged out African powerhouses Nigeria and table-topping Benin in one of the tightest groups on the African continent. The Hugo Broos-led side beat Rwanda 3-0 in the final qualifying match in Mbombela last night to seal their place in next year's tournament. Broos says he had to stick to his guns to build a formidable side.
I said already that I make on different criteria choices than you do. For me, it's important to have a player with quality, first of all, a player with the right mentality, secondly, and a player who can do what I ask him. And till now, I always succeed to do it. Even you thought that this one needed a chance. It's not like this that you build a team. It's not like this that you have performances. You need a plan, and you need to keep you on the plan, because you know that this is the right way. And this is what we did in the last 3 years.
Broos says football will never be the same in South Africa. He was speaking after becoming the first coach to qualify the senior men's team for 2 back-to-back Africa Cup of Nations tournaments, as well as the World Cup.
I heard somebody saying on the pitch after the game, everybody laughed with Bafana Bafana. We were a joke, and now we are there. We are on a high level, and everybody respects us. And this again is not the work only for me. So at last, I think that this is something that this nation needed. A different way to look at football.
On to golf news. Luke Donald has delivered and then some while serving as Team Europe's captain for each of the last 2 Ryder Cups. After leading Europe to a 16.5 to 11.5 win in his debut in Rome 2 years ago, Donald became the first captain to lead a road team to victory since 2012 with a 15-13 victory last month at Bethpage State Park in Farmingdale in New York. And finally, with athletics, Olympic 200-meter champion Letsele Tebogo and World 400-meter champion Colin Kibina-Tsipi have qualified for the newly introduced World Athletics Ultimate Championship meet. The inaugural event, to be held in Budapest, Hungary, from the 11th to the 13th of September 2026, will offer a record-setting prize pot of $10 million, the largest ever offered in a single track and field event. According to the World Athletics, every athlete lining up in Budapest will be financially rewarded for their performance, with the champion in each event taking home the top prize of $150,000. For any sports stories you'd like to share with us, please send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +2711 714 4459. This is Channel Africa Sport with me, Fikile Lungwati.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective. Gender-based violence is destroying lives and tearing communities apart. It happens in homes, in schools, at workplaces, and too often in silence. But it doesn't have to continue. If you see it, speak out. If you are hurting, reach out. Because doing nothing is not an option. Listen to all 19 SABC radio stations from Wednesday, 23rd of July for hard talk, discussions, advice, dramas, educational shows, and interviews around GBV with experts, survivors, lawmakers, and the whole country affected by gender-based violence. For all your favorite SABC radio stations, call 0800 428 428 to report abuse or get help. GBV, it ends with you. This message is brought to you by the SABC.
Thank you, Fikile Lungwati. Let's move on. Buntle Headbush is back with our latest business news.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
Thanks, Palesa. Good morning. And our top business story at this hour, the Sub-Saharan African Initiative of German Business, SAFRI, says German economic policy is in need of a decisive Africa shift in light of geopolitical tensions and critical dependencies on raw materials. SAFRI says raw materials such as lithium, copper and cobalt are indispensable for the transformation of the economy, and that Germany must act now if it's serious about diversification, raw material security and new growth areas. The organization says Africa is not just a market for the future, but a partner for economic resilience. It called for legally binding strategic raw material deals with African partners to reduce dependencies on individual countries. South Africa's Police and Prison Civil Rights Union, POPCRU, has raised concerns over unexplained reductions in pension fund values reported by its members. POPCRU says its members have reported a drop in their pension fund balances seen on their government employees' pension fund statements for the period from July to September. The GEPF has attributed the reductions to actuarial projections, but the union argues that these should not affect existing balances. POPCRU spokesperson Richard Mamabolo.
These actuarial tools are meant for future planning, not for retrospective deductions of members' funds. And I think we've got a lot of questions that we definitely need to ask, as to who made these changes, how were these actuarial reviews were done, and of course, why labor representatives were not consulted. One of the things that as well is concerning is the fact that the GEPF had made previous assurance to workers that their pensions would not be negatively affected by internal adjustments, and of course, it is clearly a breach of trust.
A digital revolution is sweeping through South Africa's informal economy. Cash is on the run as millions of South Africans, from spaza shop owners to street vendors, are now tapping, scanning and sending money via the click of a button. The founder of the digital payment platform AltaPos, Thulani Ngwenya, says digital transactions are not just a convenience, they're an efficient, safe lifeline driving financial inclusion.
So QR code, if you know the old barcode that used to be scanned using those barcode scanners, so a QR code is more like an image that can be scanned using your mobile device, and it takes you to a particular place depending on the purpose. In this instance, it enables you to either receive money or pay for goods or use it for donations or different things that just involve money. So you simply can transact digitally using your mobile device if you don't have a physical card.
The city of Cape Town in South Africa has reacted to President Cyril Ramaphosa's assertion that the city has done worse than the average of all metros in the country, saying he's trying to save face. Ramaphosa was replying to a question in the National Council of Provinces, where he cited Stats SA data and a budget analysis of the city of Cape Town. He says in the decade up to 2022, the city has failed in expanding access to services such as refuse removal, pipe water, electricity and flush toilets. Cape Town Mayor Jordan Hill-Lewis says the president is attempting to do damage control after endorsing Cape Town's successive clean audit reports during a meeting with the ANC councillors last month.
The president is still trying to do damage control after he dared to speak the truth a couple of weeks ago when he said that Cape Town and other towns governed by the DA are examples to be emulated and copied. In fact, they are the only examples of progress and good governance in South Africa anywhere. Where his party governs, there is only decay, corruption and collapsed services. That is the sea of ruin and failure that he presides over. The simple, irrefutable fact is that despite the enormous challenges of poverty and unemployment we face, Cape Town is steadily moving forward.
The French Prime Minister Sébastien Lecornu has told Parliament that his government will suspend unpopular pension reforms until after the 2027 presidential election. Lecornu was setting out his budget priorities after a week that saw him resign and then reappointed. The BBC's Hugh Schofield has it.
This key reform, raising the retirement age to 64, is being put on hold until the presidential elections. And a cynic would say that, in effect, is killing it off. Because if it's being put off to the presidential elections, who's going to campaign on bringing it back? No one. It's a very, very big move, this, and the money markets will be looking on with a great deal of scepticism about what all this means. But it might mean, nonetheless, that France has managed to get through this crisis. Because if it is enough to persuade the socialists not to join in with the far right and the far left and vote against the government, then the government might survive.
And now for a look at the indicators, one US dollar in Nigeria is trading at 1,460 naira. In Botswana, the dollar is trading at 13 bula 28. Kenya at 128 shilling and 28. And in Zambia, it's at 22 kwacha 63. Moving to the BRICS countries, one US dollar in Brazil is trading at 5 rial 47. In Russia, it's trading at 79 rubles 98. India, 88 rupees 76. In China, it's trading at 7 yuan 12. And South Africa, it's at 17 rand 38 cents, up from 17.32 yesterday. $1 is trading at 75 pence to the British pound and 86 to the euro. Looking at commodities, gold is trading at $4,213 per ounce this hour. Platinum at $1,680 per ounce, both up from this morning, while Brent crude oil is at $62.42 a barrel. And those are your business news. For any business news stories you'd like to share with us, please send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +2711 714 4459. For Channel Africa Business, I am Buntle Hetbush.
Business News on Channel Africa. The African Perspective. Africa, meet Abedi.
Yeah, that's me.
Abedi is a music lover through and through.
I really love African music.
He's got a taste for all kinds of tunes and spends his days listening to Channel Africa. Guess what? He didn't know.
Okay.
Channel Africa wants to help Abedi and all music lovers everywhere to discover even more incredible music. That is why Channel Africa is calling on all African musicians to submit their music. Musicians, remember to give us all your relevant information. Make your submissions at music@channelafrica.co.za. Submissions are your chance to be heard on radio. But sadly, they do not guarantee that you will be playlisted. All submissions will be carefully reviewed to see if they meet our station's requirement. Channel Africa, the African Perspective. The rhythm of Africa, the pulse of the continent. This is Channel Africa, the African Perspective.
Flash for lights, guys, now, that's a drink, because give me a good plan. Let's see. Right there. Shake it! Rubio, right there. Okay, girl, make I show you my bank account. Two-Face, I get it plenty to go around. So girl, make you dance when you hear this sound. Now we the puppy all over town. So tell me if you did down, did down. Do you know, say oh, me tick ball like oh. Girl I know, some things that you do not know. Whether na traffic I be go slow. Baby, I promise I go still show. Spending money, Pablo. I suppose she locate, but I go buy Belgium. My money na alele, high pressure. But it's like she balaba, put on for high tension. You must apply your team, big boy, you must supply plenty. Mismanage my funds on you, all I really wanna do is mismanage my funds. Mismanage my funds on you, all I wanna do is. Okay, them bro got off for the voltage. Tilapia, côté, bring a goofy with the cocaine. Gobe, you see the bed, do not replay. Find a bacha for my bro say. Conquer the streets with the play.
I need your billing up party, all got to pump. If I handle this your body, all got so. If you put me for palava, Jabolo if I what can a man, what be fair, ego nebe. I suppose she locates, but I go buy Belgium. My money na alele, high pressure. But it's like she balaba, put on for high tension. When you must apply your team, big boy, you must apply plenty. Mismanage my funds on you, all I really wanna do is mismanage my funds. Mismanage my funds on you. All I wanna do is mismanage my funds on you. All I really wanna do, I will mismanage.
nice one. Did you hear?
A revival of Brenda Fassie.
Davido featuring Odomudu Black and Chike. This one is titled Fans. It's a great one. So in the first hour of the show, we're speaking about coloureds, right? The coloured people of South Africa. After a report came out that, the coloured people of South Africa feel like they're disproportionately, they're living disproportionately in the city of Gauteng, on the Gauteng province here of South Africa. A recent report shows that they feel disproportionately high feelings of insecurity, social alienation, and economic strain compared to the general population of the Gauteng province. And then it brought us back. We had conversations about the word coloured. And one person who's really brought this conversation to the fore is Tyla, right? Tyla is South African star. She's a musician and she's become quite popular all over the world, in America in particular. And Americans are bashing her for calling herself a coloured person. That particular word means something completely different in the context of America and quite derogatory to the black people of America, but something completely different in our context as South Africans. And Tyla was trying to explain, hey, I know you guys, if I'm America, it's okay for you guys to call me black, but I'm actually colored and I want to teach you guys a little bit of something. But they're not hearing her. They're like, yeah, well, we don't want to hear that. We don't like you anymore. And
no, it's not everyone.
We don't like you anymore.
People
You said
like
you're colored. You
Tyla
said that you're
in the
not
US.
black. But something happened. Something else happened, right? After that. Was that, well, after the backlash that Tyla has been receiving on social media, Tiwa Savage, Nigerian superstar as well, Tiwa Savage, also famous all across the world, also famous all across America, went to the podcast, The Breakfast Club, also a really big pop American podcast called The Breakfast Club. And this is what she had to say. She spoke, they asked her about the Tyla issue, and this is what she said.
No, I think I felt for her a little bit because I feel like she's young and I don't think she means to come across like that. But where I'm from, when something like this happens, like they say the elder will come and say, on behalf of such and such, we apologize. You know, that's what I feel like. If that wasn't communicated, I would like to say, like on behalf of that her or whatever, like we apologize, like we didn't mean it, forgive us.
So Tiwa Savage goes to the Breakfast Club and says, look, in African culture, essentially, an elder can come and apologize on behalf of someone else. So, hey, to America, on behalf of Tyla and everyone else who's been part of this conversation, we apologize, right? And that's gotten quite a lot of backlash. Firstly, because the term colored it doesn't exist in Nigeria. It is just a South African term. So, in terms of jabbing back, not just from Tyla, but everyone was like, why would you apologize? We're actually not sorry. She didn't say anything wrong. And,
This is what Tyla said.
Yes. So afterwards, after that particular interview,
response by Tyla.
Tyla went to the Global Music Festival and she said a little bit something, during a performance. This is what she said.
What's going on today?
Yeah, guys, play the sound,
play
please.
Sound, please.
Palesa and Benjamin fuel your day with fresh African perspective on Channel Africa.
Okay, not sure what's going on in terms of that sound, but let's try and hear it again. And that's what she said during her performance. She said, sorry, I am not sorry. So I didn't essentially say, I'm not sending anyone to anywhere to come and apologize on my behalf. I'm not sorry. And I was serious about what I was saying. So that's a bit of a jab, isn't it?
Yeah, that took place some weeks back. And I think that, it's the thing about, they feel as these musicians that they come together as a collective in the USA industry, right? And if one of them is doing something wrong, the other feels like they have to speak for the other one, and that's where kind of the conflict comes. But I think they come in different in their differences, because what Tiwa Savage understands as what colored means, she wouldn't understand because she's not South African. So I understand why Tyler would say, look, I'm not really sorry about this, because
I'm
this
not
is
sorry
who I
at
am.
all.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm not sorry at all. This is who I am, and nobody can go and apologize on my behalf because there's nothing wrong that I actually said.
Yeah.
What do you think about that, Tuan? Did you think it was too much of a sting from Tyler's end, or Tiwa was just trying to, say, look, we're all Africans and we do want you guys to still follow us. We still want you guys to buy our music. So I'm sorry, without actually understanding the context of why Tyler said what she said in the first place.
And you know what? We can't listen to Tiwa Savage without listening to Tyler. You can't listen to Tyler without listening to Tiwa Savage.
Correct.
They don't come as a collective.
No, they don't. It's 10:52 Central Africa time. This is On the Move.
Annie Kalonji sur Channel Africa.
Comment est-ce que les militants et sympathisants du parti Les Transformateurs ont-ils réagi face à la condamnation de Succès Masra?
La condamnation de Succès Masra ne nous a pas surpris et les militants transformateurs ont été bouleversés et indignés étant donné que le verdict est un verdict lourd, illégal, injuste et donc face à la répression dans laquelle le peuple tchadien est confronté, les militants transformateurs se sont résignés de ne pouvoir pas sortir manifester. Et donc, c'est une situation totalement absurde pour un pays. Et aujourd'hui, nous célébrons le 11 août, fête de l'indépendance. On pensait que le verdict allait être plus ou moins clément, mais le verdict est sévère.
Annie Kalonji, tous les dimanches sur Mix Vibration.
Us on +27 63 406 9126. And contribute to the conversation.
Oh man, what a beautiful classic coming from that wonderful 1987 album titled Sorrow by the Malian Afropop artist Salif Keita. Beautiful production there from Ibrahim Saila. You heard a track titled Sina. It's 58 minutes past 10 o'clock Central African time. But I'm not moving. I'm not going anywhere. I'm staying right here in South Africa.
Yeah.
After that conversation we had, I am not going anywhere. I don't want
Dubai
more problems. You think you're going for a solution, but you end up in a living room with 7 strangers.
Look, but that's not what the internet is saying. The internet says that we're going to be at beautiful swimming pools. The internet says we're going to be eating out at great restaurants. The internet is saying that we're going to be making so much money and building big houses back home. Come on. Let's go,
stay
Beji.
in my 2-bedroom, please.
Let's go. Come on. I mean, we're asking you that question as well. We've been talking about, it seems like a huge move for many Africans who want to go and live in Dubai for particular reasons. But if this was something that you were thinking about, what would be your reason for relocating to Dubai? That's on our On The Move poll at Channel Africa 1 on X. Would it be the business opportunities, the luxury lifestyle, the networking that you would do, or the zero income tax? So far, nobody's saying the business opportunities, which is quite, it's strange because Emma was saying that if you actually have high business opportunities, you're more likely to live the better life if you go to Dubai. I don't know how you're going to get the luxury lifestyle and the networking without those business opportunities.
I know, Guraf. It's a difficult one indeed. And the thing about it is that do your research. Is the opportunity that is presented to you going to actually be able to accommodate also your lifestyle, right? If you leave your own country, does that mean that you're going to be leaving a particular lifestyle to accommodate maybe a less lifestyle? Maybe it's a sacrificial thing. Maybe you're doing it for finances, but maybe you should think about it a little bit more. Can you compromise?
And do that research, of course. But it's the top of the hour, 11 a.m. Central Africa time. Jolane Tulongwe is back with our news update as we enter the third hour.
SABC News. The African Perspective.
Thank you, Palesa. Top stories. Sawa tributes pour in for Kenya's former Prime Minister, and Netanyahu says he's willing to give peace a chance. Good morning. Tributes are pouring in for Kenya's former Prime Minister Raila Odinga, who has died at the age of 80. His Orange Democratic Movement Party confirmed he's passing this morning. The Kenyan government is yet to make a formal announcement. Odinga is reported to have suffered cardiac arrest and was rushed to hospital, where he was pronounced dead in the southern Indian city of Kochi. Odinga's family is expected to hold a press briefing. Alex Kiari has more.
With the reports that the former Prime Minister has passed away, we are actually waiting for the State House to communicate this formally to the nation, and also his political party, which I can see media houses have already deployed over there to also be able to react to the same. The former Prime Minister's health has been in the news for the last 1 week after it was confirmed that he had traveled to India to seek treatment. But we are still not yet informed of exactly what was being treated. But some unconfirmed reports say that he had undergone some brain surgery and he was recovering or recuperating over there. And that's when this happened, 4 a.m. rather, local time, that's Kenyan time.
African jurists are demanding the urgent adoption of artificial intelligence to protect whistleblowers. They've argued that algorithms can create secure, anonymous reporting channels to prevent incidents such as the killing of the Gauteng Health Department official in South Africa, Babita Diokaran, in August 2021. Higher Education Media's Edwin Naidu says that technological intervention is essential.
So last month at the Biennial International Bar Association African Regional Forum Conference in Joburg, jurists and legal experts, they talked about AI and what it could be doing to help, in the fight against crime, particularly being used as an aid for whistleblowing. They argued that, Africa is home to like 70% of global mobile money transactions, which makes it very uniquely positioned to harness the power of AI.
The South African government and police are in the final stages of implementing the use of body cameras for officers. That's according to Acting Deputy National Police Commissioner Dineo Nkua. Nkua says the budget for the purchase has been approved and allocated for the current financial year. She made the announcement at the graduation ceremony for the first group of officers who have completed a new course by the Safety and Security SETA in Durban. The police plan to buy 100 cameras each year, which cost just over $1,600 each. Nkua has encouraged the officers to embrace technology in policing.
We need technology to assist us to fight crime. We know nowadays we are faced with cybercrime, and many other crimes that requires technology to fight them. We really need police officers who can use technology to fight crime. I know that our division, technology management, they're finalizing their specifications so that those body-worn cameras can be procured. So we are hopeful that before the end of this financial year, we'll have procured the body-worn cameras for our police officers.
South Africa has joined 13 other states elected to serve three-year terms on the United Nations Human Rights Council in Geneva starting next year, extending its current term on the council, which was due to expire at the end of 2025. The Human Rights Council is an intergovernmental body in the United States, and rather United Nations system, responsible for strengthening of human rights. General Assembly President Annalena Baerbock confirmed the results of the vote.
The following 14 states have thus been elected members of the Human Rights Council for a 3-year term of office beginning on January 1st, 2026. Angola, Chile, Ecuador, Egypt, Estonia, India, Iraq, Italy, Mauritius, Pakistan, Slovenia, South Africa, United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, Vietnam. I congratulate the states which have been elected members of the Human Rights Council.
And finally, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says he's willing to give peace a chance, but he's warned that if Hamas does not disarm, all hell will break loose. In an interview with CBS News, Netanyahu said it was clear that the next stage in the Gaza peace plan must be the demilitarization of Hamas. He says Israel must also has to make sure that there are no weapons factories inside Gaza or any being smuggled into the area. Recapping the top story this hour, tributes are pouring in for Kenya's former Prime Minister Raila Odinga, who has died at the age of 80. For any news stories you would like to share with us, please do send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +27 11 714 4459. For Channel Africa News, I'm Jolani Tulo Mwebe.
SABC News. The African Perspective.
It's hour 3 of 3. Happy hump day to you and yours. You're still listening to On The Move. I'm Palesa. Benjamin Moshatama is also here, and we've been having these fantastic conversations together, starting off with a conversation about the coloured community of South Africa and their feelings behind the economic strain, social alienation, and general, just general insecurity that they feel in the Gauteng province of South Africa. We then went on into a conversation about immigrating to Dubai. Do you want to go to Dubai? Habibi, come to Dubai. Is it all that good? Emma Bashford, our immigration specialist, say, hey, you actually have to do a lot of research. It's not just glitz and glamour. So it's great to have her very upfront opinion that she always gives us. But we're going into this hour of the show. It's time for Live Well. When you hear the term palliative care, we often think about it as in the context of aging, right? Like old people, and we only think about like very sick people as very old people. So when you do go to most palliative care places, you will find quite a lot of old people, because we think like, aging and that part of your life is only reserved for those. Unfortunately, there are so many things that can land one in palliative care, and sometimes there is young people that end up in states that require palliative care. We'll be exploring youth-centered palliative care, something that's not so great to think about, to speak about, because because we want the young people to have long and fruitful lives. But unfortunately, it doesn't always work like that. We'll be chatting about youth-centered palliative care in this hour of the show.
Hey, remember, we do have a new website. It's been updated for you. It's where you can get the full experience right here on Channel Africa of what we do on air, but also what's happening on the various parts of the continent news-wise. So this is where we collate everything and we put it in one place, and it's for you to have that African experience of the African perspective. So go to our website, www.channelafrica.co.za, and experience what Channel Africa is all about. Right now, let's go back to the music. This is Adekunle Gold with Sena featuring Lucky Day.
Get Channel Africa on DSTV Audio Bouquet. Channel 802.
Loving you be my greatest sin. Said I was done, but see I'm here. You don't make it easy, rara, to stay away from Yawa. Shiba, oh Shiba, girl you make me a sinner. Shiba, oh Shiba, no make me pull the trigger. Never say never, no I can do whatever. For Shiba, oh be mine, don't wanna be so loser, no. Drunk on your potion, can feel my lips burning, losing composure. Can feel my face drowning, seems so irrational. Ready to risk it all. If I can't have you, nobody can. No, no. Tell me how can I get my mind off you?
It's 10 minutes past 11 Central Africa time. Adekunle Gold and Lucky Day on this one is titled Sinner. We're about to speak about youth-centered palliative care. Stay with us.
The Morning Switch Weekend with the Shy Guy.
The story that takes us to Zambia. There are two men actually that were sentenced to prison for the plot to kill the president with witchcraft. You go like, what? So these guys were arrested actually in Lusaka, and what was found on them was a live chameleon. Can you believe that? Animal tails and bottles of concoction. That law takes us back to 1914, which is the Witchcraft Act. I can imagine now arrested and they go to jail for the next 2 years. You know, I presume that you get to jail, they get to ask you actually, what is it that you committed? Now, this is the first of its kind, by the way, for somebody to be arrested for such. They in Pemba, whenever they pass, hey, Chikanga, hey, Uloya, hey, Mulosi. And imagine here I am in these early hours of the mornings, I get to talk about witchcraft.
Saturday and Sunday mornings belong to the Morning Switch. 3 to 6 a.m. Central African Time. Madapiri Bazoshitika. Madapiri Bazoshitika.
Mafuta galimoto akwera mtengo mudziko la Malawi ndipo nkhani anthu ayilandira mosiyanasiyana ndipo mtu ankhani mudziko la Malawi kondwani Nyamasauka tili naye pa line pano kuti atifotokozere zambiri. Kondwani kodi uli bwanji? Mafuta galimoto kodi akwera kufika pa bwanji?
Mafuta galimoto akwera amene tuyankhula pano kukambonena kuti usiku wathawu petrol wakwera kuchokera pa 2,530 kwacha kukafika pa 3,499 kwacha. Koma nkhani ya mapercentage ndi 38.30%. Pamene diesel wachoka pa 2,734 kwacha kukafika pa 3,500 kwacha, yomwe kuimira kuma percentage 28.02%.
Zochitika pa nthawi ya 6 koloko kufikira 7 koloko madzulo. Lolemba mpaka lachisanu ndi Madapiri. Palesa and Benjamin fuel your day with fresh African perspective on Channel Africa.
It's time for Live Well right here on the Move. You know, we think about life as this wheel that turns until it doesn't turn anymore. Usually when we become older, that's what we're thinking, right? That when people become older, then they can no longer take care of themselves, or they get, certain illnesses, then they go into palliative care. And palliative care is often spoken of in the context of aging, yet so many of its most complex stories belong to the young. From cancer and HIV to rare genetic diseases, their needs sit at the intersection of healthcare, mental health, and social identity. Palliative care for youth goes beyond end-of-life treatment. It's also about helping young patients live fully, to manage pain and find dignity in the face of uncertainty. So that's what we're exploring today, how youth-centered palliative care can redefine what it means to live well with illness. Joining us on the line is Dr. Samantha Gavender, who is the chairperson of Palliative Care for Children South Africa, also known as Patch SA, and a pediatrician as well. Dr. Gavender, thank you so much for your time. Good morning.
Good morning, Palesa. How are you?
Oh, doing great. Thank you. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. And thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity.
All right, for those who might be hearing this term for the first time, I think maybe they've heard it described in many other ways. Let's start there. What is palliative care?
So it's known as children's palliative care as well as pediatric palliative care. So children's palliative care has many different similarities to adult palliative care. And when you talk about palliative care, it's an active, holistic approach to caring for children, youth, adolescents, and adults with life-limiting or life-threatening conditions, as well as their families. It focuses on improving quality of life through the conditions and the journeys that the children and the families are journeying through. And we mainly focus on prevention and relief of suffering. And suffering is not only seen as physical, it's seen as social, spiritual, emotional, and psychological suffering. And children have some life-threatening conditions and rare diseases that are not seen in the adolescent as well as in the adult population. So their disease trajectories and responses to treatment differ significantly from adults.
I see. Dr. Gavender, even though in your definition you're saying, hey, everybody, right, children, the youth, and all the way to adults can access palliative care. But in our heads, we think palliative care is only for the aging because, we have that social construct, right, that we want to live long and fruitful lives. And perhaps at the end of our lives, that's where we're more susceptible to diseases. That's where we're more susceptible to, life-threatening illnesses. And then we go into palliative care. So nobody thinks about or wants to think about young people being in a position where they will need palliative care. It's both, right, physical, but there's also that psychological, thing that we have to get over when it comes to young people needing palliative care. Chat to us a little bit about that.
So, it's strange that you talk about when people associate palliative care only with aging. I'm just going to give you some perspective because it's not only about aging, because somebody can get a life-threatening or a life-limiting diagnosis or an illness at any point of their lifetime. Example can be an unborn baby, where the mom and the dad are told that your child has this lethal condition that is incompatible with life, and that we need to either terminate the pregnancy, or if the parents choose not to terminate the pregnancy, how do we do a birthing plan for this family who have chosen to have this little one being delivered, knowing that there's a possibility that this little baby may not be living for more than an hour or 2 hours or weeks or months. So it's across the board, Palesa. And people forget that it is supposed to be initiated at the time of diagnosis, when physicians, surgeons are aiming at curative treatment. Either it's medical or it's surgical treatment that they want to achieve. But palliative care is also for everybody across the board. What about an elderly person who has had how can I explain the example? A stroke, and now he's quite ill, and they are bedbound, and they can't do certain things. We need to incorporate the principles of palliative care when you are talking to those families and bringing them into it. And palliative care is not only just for the patient. We have to remember that a patient is a family unit. You have siblings, you have parents, you have grandparents. So we try and incorporate everybody into that palliative care circle when you're caring for a family and for a patient. And people forget that. It's holistic care. There's so much more that you can do for a patient and the family. And that's the term that we rather say than saying you come to a point to say to a family, I'm so sorry, there's nothing more we can do. People need to start using the terminology, there's so much more that I can do for you and your family.
Mm-hmm. Dr. Samantha, let's talk a little bit about the examples of, the conditions that could affect younger people or even children when it comes to palliative care. Give us some examples.
So when majority of the time when people talk about palliative care, I think everyone will assume that you're related to cancer. Mm-hmm. And that's okay because people don't know and we are here to help you understand.
Sure.
So for me, when people talk about palliative care, yes, it includes cancer. But there are a lot of other things like you've mentioned already, people with HIV and AIDS. There's also children who have Down syndrome that have a heart lesion that is inoperable and they can't have heart surgery. So then they have heart failure with lung failure. They are needing palliative care. We have children and adolescents with muscular dystrophies. They are needing palliative care. For me, when I see patients in my setting also, you can have a child that came to us with a simple thing as a headache and a fever and vomiting. And then you find out that this patient has a meningitis, which is like an infection of the covering of the brain. But then there's complications to that meningitis. They have seizures. Then their development is affected. And that patient now has progressed into their meningitis. And let's say they have TB meningitis and they've got stage 4 TB meningitis. They become children who have cerebral palsy. They have complications that need to be attended to. So that's also a child that needs pediatric palliative care.
Yeah.
There's
would the care in itself look differently for children than it does for an older generation?
Yes. The care in a way is different because, as mentioned, their disease trajectory is different to an older patient. Their treatment protocol is also different. And in children, we always do medication according to their weight. I can't prescribe 1 tablet or 2 tablets. It has to be weight prescribed. Also, their symptoms and their, how can I explain, or their challenges that they face may be a little bit different to an older child or an adult. Because remember, a child, it's age-appropriate communication talking to this child versus you talking to an older child, an adolescent who may understand you better versus a 4-year-old and a 5-year-old. You also have to talk about, you remember, they are going to school. They're going to be missing out of school. They have things that need to be taken care for other than when you compare them to an older child and an adult.
All right, Dr. Govender, stay on the line. We still want to speak about youth-centered palliative care and some of the things that are quite specific that would be needs for young people who have to go into palliative care. We'll continue this conversation with Dr. Samantha Govender after this break.
Africa, meet Abedi.
Yeah, that's me.
Abedi is a music lover through and through.
I really love African music.
He's got a taste for all kinds of tunes and spends his days listening to Channel Africa. Guess what? He didn't know.
Okay.
Channel Africa wants to help Abedi and all music lovers everywhere to discover even more incredible music. That is why Channel Africa is calling on all African musicians to submit their music. musicians, remember to give us all your relevant information. Make your submissions at music@channelafrica.co.za. Submissions are your chance to be heard on radio. But sadly, they do not guarantee that you will be playlisted. All submissions will be carefully reviewed to see if they meet our station's requirement. Channel Africa, the African perspective. Hashtag on the move and connect with us.
Hey, we're speaking a little bit more about a specialized treatment for very serious illnesses. This is what we call palliative care, and we're speaking to it around palliative care that's for maybe a younger generation, maybe someone who is a young teenager, or maybe someone who's an infant or a young child. Dr. Samantha Govender is speaking to us, chairperson of Palliative Care for Children South Africa. Dr. Samantha, you know, palliative care can feel like it's almost exclusive in its nature because it deals with serious conditions. And in many African countries, the issue is access to medical care. Does this make it more difficult to actually treat people who need this more specialized type of medical access?
When it comes to the specialized care, Benjamin, palliative care can be initiated in every institution, provided we give them training, education, and resources. So it's accessible, but the access to get it out there is a challenge. The availability of children's palliative care services, including adult and youth-focused palliative care services, is very limited across the African countries. There are some countries where it's concentrated in urban centers versus you going into the rural or the more district or the countryside where people actually need it. There's only a handful of countries that have established children's palliative care programs. And to name a few, we've got South Africa on the list, there's Uganda, there's Kenya, we have Malawi, Zimbabwe, Eswatini, Zambia, Nigeria, and Namibia. But South Africa is the only country in Africa that has a dedicated national association for children's palliative care, which, as you mentioned, is PATCH SA. And we need to start integrating it into the national health systems. And there need to be policies, but policies are still inconsistent. And that is a challenge. South Africa does have a policy, but it's expired before it's implemented, but we're working on a new one. So it is a challenge. And then people, when you talk about palliative care, even healthcare workers are afraid to actually offer this concept of care to their patients because, yes, it is associated with death, but we don't know when death is coming. That's not predicted by us. But that is why you have to offer this family this opportunity of palliative care to live their life to the fullest. And looking for symptom relief, trying to make that journey more comfortable in the time that you have with them. So educating people, teaching them, doing short courses, training at hospitals, getting that information out there will make people more equipped to handle families with palliative care needs.
You know, Doctor, you speak about still being able to live your life to the fullest, and that's what we expect from young people, right? We expect them to be lively, and even when they're ill, they are still young and they still have that heart of a child. So what are some of the main priorities, right, when young people begin palliative care to also help them not just be comfortable, but to somewhat still be young?
It's a challenge, Palesa, because a young person is transitioning from childhood into adolescenthood into adulthood, and they have their own specific needs and challenges that they need to go through. And here you are telling this child, I'll give an example, maybe a 14 or a 15-year-old, that you have a condition that is life-threatening or life-limiting. This child and his family had all their hopes and dreams. He wanted to be a soccer player. Now he can't walk and he can't get out of the bed. Nobody knows that pain except that child and his family. And our focus is mainly on relief of pain and suffering and distressing symptoms. The main thing in an adolescent child is to try and build trust with that child. We can't just go into that home or that room and impose all our wishes and demands on them if we haven't actually felt and understood who this person is really. You need to build trust with the child, the family, as well as the care team. We have to assess the emotional, social, and spiritual needs, as well as their educational needs. You have to support the parents, trying to make them realize this is an adult, this is an individual. They need to know what's happening with them. You have to tell their child what's wrong. But many parents are scared because they don't want to burden their children with this diagnosis. They feel that if you tell the child will be sad. But there's so much things that you can do when you bring that child into the team and helping them understand the illness and the care plan. Young children and young people have better innovative ideas, and sometimes it may work for them. And you have to try and maintain a normalcy, encouraging school, play, as well as peer connections. And sometimes by just giving that child or that youth the information that, I have this problem. Many of our children have access to social media.
Yeah.
They can Google, they can check, they can share their stories, and they can realize that there's someone else going through the same thing as me.
Yeah.
And they guide inspiration from that.
Sure. At times there are unique circumstances whereby the palliative care is not only for the child, but also could be simultaneously also going to the parent. In situations such as that, how do you deal with having a comprehensive approach there?
For me, what people need to understand that when you're dealing with a patient and family with palliative care, it cannot be done by one person. You need a team of people because you have to assess a whole family's needs. And that team includes the child, the parent, the adult who's got a palliative care diagnosis, or the adolescent who has a palliative care diagnosis, including the doctors, nurses, and the allied health. By bringing them into that team and making them understanding what is really wrong with them, what can be done for them, and where we are and how they can play a role in their care plan, it's a huge impact for them, and they become part of that person. You see a whole different concept of a family when it involves them. So shared decision making is very important. But sometimes we fear bringing the family or the person into that team, not realizing by not bringing them into the team, we're actually creating more harm.
All right, we have to leave it there. Unfortunately, we've run out of time, Dr. Govender. If we want to find out more about the palliative care for children South Africa, where do we go?
So they can visit our website, which is www.patchsa.org, and they will have a lot of information for anybody who wants to actually access or understand palliative care. We also have a Patch Academy where we have courses that are on it, and that website is www.academy.patchsa.org. We have a free introduction to pediatric palliative care. It's an online course, and that's a free course. So people can join, they can attend it, they can do it as they please in their own time, and they can learn so much more.
Okay, we have to leave it there. Thank you so much, Dr. Govender. It's always good speaking to you on these matters. It's great having you back here on Channel Africa. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much. Take care.
That's Dr. Samantha Govender, Chairperson of Palliative Care for Children South Africa, also known as Patch SA. Well, that conversation takes us to 11:31 Central African time. Let's keep things moving and wrap up our morning sports.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
And in wrapping up, we begin with Taekwondo. Following a rigorous justification exercise held recently at the Liberia School of Wushu in Painesville, the Liberia Taekwondo Federation has officially selected 2 athletes to represent the nation at the upcoming 2025 World Taekwondo Championship in China. The championship is set to take place from the 26th to the 30th of October. Selected athletes Derek Soiree, lightweight division 62 kg, age 23, and Moses Kohli, lightweight division 56 kg. The selection process was supervised by the LTF's technical department, which confirmed that both athletes exhibited the skill, discipline, and competitive readiness necessary to compete at the international level. On to football news. Bafana Bafana are back in the FIFA World Cup after an absence of more than 2 decades. South Africa last qualified for the global footballing showpiece when Korea and Japan co-hosted it back in 2002. Bafana edged out African powerhouses Nigeria and table-topping Benin in one of the tightest groups on the African continent. The Hugo Broos-led side beat Rwanda 3-0 in the final qualifying match in Mbombela last night to seal their place in next year's tournament. Bruce says he had to stick to his guns to build a formidable side.
I said already that I make on different criteria choices than you do. For me, it's important to have a player with quality, first of all, a player with the right mentality, secondly, and a player who can do what I ask him. And till now, I always succeed to do it. Even you thought that this one needed a chance. It's not like this that you build a team. It's not like this that you have performances. You need a plan, and you need to keep you on the plan, because you know that this is the right way. And this is what we did in the last 3 years.
Some more World Cup news. The Ivory Coast and Senegal claimed Africa's final 2 automatic qualification spots for the 2026 FIFA World Cup as both sides registered victories yesterday. Senegal claimed a 4-0 home win over Mauritania to secure first place in Group B. A Sadio Mane free kick put the hosts ahead on the stroke of halftime, and the former Liverpool forward slotted in his second before Iliman Ndiaye added a fine solo effort and Habib Diallo rounded off the scoring late on. The Teranga Lions finished the campaign 2 points ahead of DR Congo, who beat Sudan 1-0 thanks to Theo Bongoda's first half strike. And finally, with aquatics, South Africa's swimmers collected 1 gold and 3 bronze medals at the first stop of 2025 World Aquatic Swimming World Cup in Carmel, Indiana, to finish 10th on the overall medals table after 3 days of competition. 19-year-old Chris Smith produced a breakthrough performance to claim gold in the men's 50-meter breaststroke, edging out the Netherlands' Casper Kobo by just 300th of a second in a thrilling finish. For any sports stories you'd like to share with us, please send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +2711 714 4459. This is Channel Africa Sport with me, Figile Lingwati.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective. Gender-based violence is destroying lives and tearing communities apart. It happens in homes, in schools, at workplaces, and too often in silence. But it doesn't have to continue. If you see it, speak out. If you are hurting, reach out. Because doing nothing is not an option. Listen to all 19 SABC radio stations from Wednesday, 23rd of July for hard talk, discussions, advice, dramas, educational shows, and interviews around GBV with experts, survivors, lawmakers, and the whole country affected by gender-based violence. For all your favorite SABC radio stations, call 0800 428 428 to report abuse or get help. GBV, it ends with you. This message is brought to you by the SABC.
Thank you, File Lingwati. Once again, it's time for Buntle Headbush to give us our latest in business.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
Thanks, Palesa. Good morning. And our final look at the business news this morning. The Sub-Saharan Africa Initiative of German business, SAFRI, says German economic policy is in need of a decisive Africa shift in light of geopolitical tensions and critical dependencies on raw materials. SAFRI says raw materials such as lithium, copper and cobalt are indispensable for the transformation of the economy, and that Germany must act now if it's serious about diversification, raw material security and new growth areas. The organization says Africa is not just a market for the future, but a partner for economic resilience. It called for legally binding strategic raw materials deals with African partners to reduce dependencies on individual countries. South Africa's Police and Prisons Civil Rights Union POPCRU has raised concern over unexplained reductions in pension fund values reported by its members. POPCRU says its members have reported a drop in their pension fund balances seen on their government employees' pension fund statements for the period from July to September. The GEPF has attributed the reductions to actuarial projections, but the union argues that these should not affect existing balances. POPCRU spokesperson Richard Mamabolo.
These actuarial tools are meant for future planning, not for retrospective deductions of members' funds. And I think we've got a lot of questions that we definitely need to ask, as to who made these changes, how were these actuarial reviews were done, and of course, why labor representatives were not consulted. One of the things that as well is concerning is the fact that the GEPF had made previous assurance to workers that their pensions would not be negatively affected by internal adjustments, and of course, it is clearly a breach of trust.
A digital revolution is sweeping through South Africa's informal economy. Cash is on the run as millions of South Africans, from spaza shop owners to street vendors, are now tapping, scanning and sending money via the click of a button. The founder of the digital payment platform Alta Pos, Thulani Ngwenya, says digital transactions are not just a convenience, they're an efficient, safe lifeline driving financial inclusion.
So QR code, if you know the old barcode that used to be scanned using those barcode scanners, so QR code is more like an image that can be scanned using your mobile device. And it takes you to a particular place depending on the purpose. In this instance, it enables you to either receive money or pay for goods or use it for donations or different things that just involve money. So you simply can transact digitally using your mobile device if you don't have a physical card.
The city of Cape Town in South Africa has reacted to President Cyril Ramaphosa's assertion that the city has done worse than the average of all metros in the country, saying he's trying to save face. Ramaphosa was replying to a question in the National Council of Provinces where he cited Stats SA data and a budget analysis of the city of Cape Town. He says in the decade up to 2022, the city has failed in expanding access to services such as refuse removal, pipe water, electricity and flush toilets. Cape Town Mayor Jordan Hill-Lewis says the president is attempting to do damage control after endorsing Cape Town's successive clean audit reports during a meeting with ANC councillors last month.
The president is still trying to do damage control after he dared to speak the truth a couple of weeks ago when he said that Cape Town and other towns governed by the DA are examples to be emulated and copied. In fact, they are the only examples of progress and good governance in South Africa anywhere. Where his party governs, there is only decay, corruption and collapsed services. That is the sea of ruin and failure that he presides over. The simple, irrefutable fact is that despite the enormous challenges of poverty and unemployment we face, Cape Town is steadily moving forward.
The French Prime Minister Sébastien Lecornu has told Parliament that his government will suspend unpopular pension reforms until after the 2027 presidential election. Lecornu was setting out his budget priorities after a week that saw him resign and then reappointed. The BBC's Hugh Schofield has the details.
The key reform, raising the retirement age to 64, is being put on hold until the presidential elections. And a cynic would say that, in effect, is killing it off. Because if it's being put off to the presidential elections, who's going to campaign on bringing it back? No one. It's a very, very big move, this, and the money markets will be looking on with a great deal of scepticism about what all this means. But it might mean, nonetheless, that France has managed to get through this crisis. Because if it is enough to persuade the socialists not to join in with the far right and the far left and vote against the government, then the government might survive.
And now for our final look at the indicators this morning. $1 in Nigeria is trading at 1,460 naira. In Botswana, the dollar is trading at 13 pula 28. Kenya at 128 shilling and 28. And in Zambia, it's at 22 kwacha 63. Moving to the BRICS countries, $1 in Brazil is trading at 5 real 47. In Russia, it's trading at 79 rubles 98. India, 88 rupees 76 in China. It's trading at 7 yuan 12, and in South Africa it's at 17 rand 38 cents this morning. $1 is trading at 75 pence to the British pound and 86 to the euro. Looking at commodities, gold is trading at $4,188 per ounce, platinum $1,666 per ounce, while Brent crude oil is at $62.20 a barrel. And those are your business news this morning. For any business stories you'd like to share with us, please send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +2711 714 4459. For Channel Africa Business, I am Bontle Headbush.
Business News on Channel Africa. The African Perspective. Got something to say? Are you passionate about issues that matter?
Do you have a voice that deserves to be heard?
Well, we've got the perfect platform for you. Call in or drop us a WhatsApp on +27 63 406 9126.
And we will call you back.
So you could have your say and be part of the conversation.
30 years of age. I just turned 30 on the 15th of November. So that's who I am, you know.
It's not just talk. It's your chance to air your views.
Share your opinion.
Engage with a community that values your perspective.
Follow us on our social media.
Visit our website at www.channelafrica.co.za and get ready to share your views on Channel Africa,
the African Perspective.
Palesa and Benjamin fuel your day with fresh African perspective on Channel Africa. Get Channel Africa on DSTV Audio Bouquet.
Channel 802.
.48 Central Africa time. Mohegan Sun, Morda and Oskambo featuring Marumba Pitch is the one taking us to almost 11:50. We're about to wrap up, of course, but in the meantime, head on over to our On The Move poll. That's at Channel Africa 1 on X. And of course, we're asking you the question of the day. What would be your reason for relocating to Dubai? Would it be business opportunities, luxury lifestyles, networking, or the zero income tax? We'll continue the conversations. This is On The Move.
Darubini ya Afrika na I am Henry Shakif.
Mgombea urais wa chama cha wananchi CUF Gambo Samatindo ameitaka serikali ya Tanzania kuweza kutoa msimamo wao wa wazi kuhusiana na matukio ya utekaji watu. Tamko hili la mgombea huyu wa CUF mnalichukuliaje na nini mtazamo wenu?
Haya ndio masuala ambayo sisi kama watetezi wa haki za binadamu au shirika la utetezi tunapenda sana, ni moja ya kazi ambayo tunaifanya.
Lakini tatizo hili limekuwa sugu kwa hivi karibuni. Hili linaleta tafsiri gani kwa nchi ya Tanzania kiujumla? Mnasimamia wapi mpaka hivi sasa, na je, mmekwisha kutoa tamko lolote?
Ndio, sisi tulitoa statement yetu. Sasa ni jambo la kutisha sana kuona mambo yanaendelea, na inatisha sasa hivi sana. Watu wanaonekana kukasirishwa sana na matukio ya namna hii.
Darubini ya Afrika kila Jumatatu hadi Ijumaa kuanzia saa 11 kamili hadi saa 12 kamili jioni majira ya Afrika ya Kati.
Channel Africa and you have got something in common. The thirst for knowledge.
Take all my mind, take all the joy now, take me down, take all the love now, tie me away, burn me alive now, break me down right now. Now you wanna lock me away, I'm winning, you wanna add to my pain, I'm shining, now you won't come for my face, ideally we're not the same, no, so why you wanna try me, yeah try me, you're out to destroy me, you try to challenge me, you try to distract me, if I want the ganja, yeah, you bring the lights up, you roll me a visa, set me on fire, yeah, so I woke up in the night, broke out of my chains, staying alone, you don't know my name, you crossed the line, we will never die, this is where you went, ooh child, why you wanna lock me away, I'm winning, you wanna add to my pain, I'm shining, now you won't come for my face, I did it, we're not the same, no, so why you wanna try me, can't try me, you're try me, out to destroy me, try to challenge me, try to distract me.
This is Thames, absolutely love her. Try Me is the name of this track. We are about to say goodbye as the On The Move team. And you know, this is usually the time where we bring in Lulu Gabu to let us know what's coming up on the Africa Update. We're still doing that, except Lulu is not in studio today. And we're finding out a little bit about where they are today. Of course, they're outside, not here in the studio, at the Oppenheimer Research Conference in Midrand, Johannesburg, South Africa. Lulu, are you there?
Hello.
Hi, Lulu. How are you doing?
Hello. Hey, Bali. I'm good, thanks. How are you? Hey, Ben.
Good.
Good.
Well, let us know. You're out there today, not here in our studios. What are you up to there in Midrand, Johannesburg?
Hey, guys. We're literally taking a page from your title, On The Move, as the Africa Update. We are at the 14th Oppenheimer Research Conference that is underway starting today. And this is something that we were here last year and we're back again this year. Its focus is environmental and natural sciences research, and it was initiated in 2010, and it's all about showcasing research work from various environmental and natural science fields. And we are going to be speaking to Jonathan Oppenheimer, the executive chairman of the Oppenheimer Generations. And it is quite exciting. I think this year is a lot bigger because there are exhibitions as you walk into this conference center, and a number of people making up the panel at the podium. So we are going to be unpacking that for the next hour and just speaking to different individuals, with people coming from all over the world, and just talking about what research is all about, what they're focusing on. There is a competition that has been running for some time in terms of and doctors who come up with different projects, and this is where an award ceremony will be then held at the end of the week, and the winner will then chat to us. Actually, before the end of the week, and we'll be able to chat to the winner with regards to the funds that they win and whatever projects they're going to put those funds into. So there's a lot of excitement, a lot going on, a number of people milling around, and I promise you, just walking around this gallery, there's so much to see and to unpack, and all of that and more coming up on Africa Update. And of course, the passing of the former Prime Minister of Kenya, Raila Odinga, at the age of 80. I mean, sad news that we're hearing, and this all happened in India, and it also highlights or begs the question as to why African leaders believe in leaving the continent and going to places like India or in Europe to get medical attention. And unfortunately this time around Odinga lost his life. So we'll also be unpacking that. We're going to be speaking to a member of parliament in Kenya, that's Maxwell. I think you guys remember him from when he was here in South Africa a few months ago. A lot to unpack on that front. Africa Update is going to be an interesting one.
Looking forward to it. Have a great broadcast there, Lulu, and I'm sure we need more of that situation when it comes to Raila Odinga's death there. We know that he was always pivotal in the opposition of the politics of Kenya. Condolences to the Odinga family. But we're getting out of here, buddy.
We absolutely are. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been a great day. Tomorrow is Thursday, and of course we'll be back here from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Central Africa time. Have a great day, Africa.
Yo, Crazy. They must be crazy. If they think that we won't make it. They know they tripping. They don't know we different. I'ma play my position. Let's get lost in the moment. Fuck in the moment. Hit it how you want it. Lost in the moment. Fuck in the moment. Hit it how you want it. Ride with me, fly with me, side with me, cry with me. Slide with me, lie with me, shine with me, and my me. Count on me, be my trap. Queen count on me, grind with me, get the bag, and stack it up with me. She know I don't play around, drop it to the floor. And she go so low, I might just